where the Mets open a 3-game series, of course, against the San Diego Padres. They open this series with a devastated pitching staff. First, of course, the well-chronicled Dwight Gooden and Roger McDowell going down in spring training. Then Sid Fernandez missed a start. He is back in the rotation, but Bobby Ojeda went under the knife last Saturday. He's lost for the season. A guy who's going to be lost for the next 3 weeks, Rick Aguilera, came up with tenderness in his right elbow, and he was examined yesterday by Dr. Frank Jobe in Los Angeles. To add further to the Mets' miseries, David Cone broke the little finger on his pitching hand, and he will be lost for about 2 months. So what does Mel Stottlemyre have to do? He has to go to the bullpen to look for a starter, and we ask him which guy it would be.
Well, I think the most likely candidate probably would be the guy that's been, jack of all trades for us on the pitching staff, Terry Leach. He probably will get the nod maybe to fill one of those spots that, are vacated by Cone and Aguilera. I look for him probably to pitch the first game, Tim, for us in Los Angeles.
Mel, because of the shortage of pitchers that you have now, do you think you'll go to a 4-man rotation like you did the beginning of the year?
Tim, I really don't think so. It didn't work out very well for us. There's a couple of guys on our staff I still feel I could pitch on the 4th day and do an effective job for us. But I think one of the things that will keep us away from that, right after the first of the month, we're expecting Dwight Gooden back, and I think that will bolster our pitching staff considerably. And we know that he likes to pitch on every 5 days, and I think we'll try to get a 5-man rotation and hope nothing else happens from here on.
Do you anticipate any physical problems out of Dwight Gooden?
Well, I really don't. I think he's had enough outings in the minor leagues and has pitched enough innings down there. I think that I can just look forward to sticking him in the rotation and letting him take his turn every 5 days. And I think that as far as physical strength in that, he's going to be more than ready.
A lot of people talk about the Mets and repeating and how difficult it is. Well, their job's going to be made that much more difficult because of the condition of their pitching staff. And Dwight Gooden will certainly be welcome back next Friday at Shea.
From Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, WWOR-TV presents New York Mets baseball as tonight, the Mets take on the San Diego Padres. Mets Baseball 87 is brought to you tonight by Bud Light, the light beer with a first name and taste. Everything else is just a light. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By Nissan, who invites you to test drive a hot new Nissan car or truck and see why Nissan makes you feel like driving. By the 9X Yellow Pages. It's the one you've always had. It's the only one you need. By your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Ford dealers. By Mita, all we make are great copiers. And by the New York Daily News, New York's hometown paper. Pitching for the Mets tonight, right-hander Ron Darling, who's 2-3 with a 5.28 ERA. And on the mound for the Padres, left-hander Dave Dravecky, 1-5 with an ERA of 4.30.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Kiner, along with Tim McCarver and Steve Zabriskie, all set for the first of 3 here with the San Diego Padres. The Mets, a hot ball club. They've won 3 straight of this road trip, and they have 6 more to go. Mets against the Padres. We'll be back with the starting lineups and the ball game right after this message from Bud Light. Mookie Wilson, the leader off for the Mets. Mookie hitting .343 for the year. He has 4 home runs, 12 runs batted in, and Dave Dravecky with a fastball. And the first pitch of the ball game is swinging strike. Mookie has not had a hit against the Padres. He's 0 for 4 so far this year. In his last 32 ball games, he's at .347. So Mookie Wilson leading off for the Mets. Very pleasant day here, but overcast. Temperature at about 70 degrees. And the typical San Diego overcast this time of year. Fastball again, 1 ball, 1 strike. And Dravecky missing with that one, 2-1. And the pitcher for this ball game, Dave Dravecky, he has worked 37 2/3 innings, given up 40 hits, given up 6 home runs, and he has given up another base hit right here. pass. Mookie is on his way to second. He'll try for 3. Out in right field, Tony Gwynn having a tough time with a carom, and Mookie Wilson ends up at third.
I'll tell you something that has been disputed in this ballpark since this ballpark was built back in the late 60s was whether it should be a ground rule double on a ball into the bench area, the bullpen area. Because that ball can rattle around under that bench, but it is playable unless it gets stuck. And because it rattled around in there, Tony Gwynn couldn't come up with it, and Mookie Wilson has a triple instead of a double.
And Mookie shake, rattle, and roll on that one. He was going.
Oh, boy.
For Mookie Wilson, his 4th double of the year, and he is on third with no one out, and Tim Teufel the batter. Tim hitting .364, 1 home run, 10 runs batted in. And the fastball, a called strike. Teufel 2 for 4 against San Diego pitching this season. And of course, he alternates at second base with Wally Backman. Backman playing against right-hand pitching. And the fastball fouled back out of play. 2 strikes, the count on Tim Teufel. Teufel at .364, 24 hits, 8 of them doubles, 1 of them a home run, and Dravecky with a lifetime record of 51 and 48, asking for a new ball. Lifetime against the Mets, he's 2 and 5. And he has his 1 victory against the Mets this year. And this ball hit hard to center field over there to make the play for the out, and coming in to score from third base, Mookie Wilson. So Shane Mack out in center field picks up the out, but the Mets pick up a run.
RBI number 11 for Tim Teufel. He really hammers this ball. Shane Mack had Teufel playing in the right center field. The Padres very high on this young man. He's only 23 years old. He has a fine arm. And for that reason, he's in center field tonight. And the ex-Met farmhand, Stan Jefferson, is playing left field because of a sore right arm.
And now the batter for the Mets will be Keith Hernandez. Keith with a 6-game hitting streak. Over his last 18 games, he's batted .423 to raise his average from .255 to .327. And the fastball, ball 1. Keith hitting .327, 4 home runs, 18 runs batted in.
There is no way you cannot be a good ball player if your name is Shane Mack. What a magnificent name. Isn't it All-American? Shane Mack.
An interesting part about that, he is the first Mack to ever play in the major leagues with the real name of Mack. There was Connie Mack, but his real name was Cornelius Millicuddy, and there are others. So Shane Mack, the first Mack to play in the major leagues where the name is actually a real name, a given name.
Yeah, a lot of nicknames with Mack. One of my nicknames, anybody's Mac Donald, Mac Carver, Mac McCormick, whatever.
Or if you've been in the Navy, you're Mac. There's a fly ball again to center field. Again, Shane Mack moving up on it, going back as Hamilton, and he makes a fine over-the-shoulder catch. The captain of the San Diego Padres.
Speaking of the Navy, huh? Following the first 3, you have Kevin McReynolds, the ex-Padre, Darryl Strawberry in right batting 5th, Gary Carter behind the plate hitting 6th, Howard Johnson, the third baseman, batting 7th, Rafael Santana at short hitting 8th, and Ron Darling on the mound tonight.
So now 2 away, and the batter will be Kevin McReynolds, who is greeted with a few boos here as he played for the Padres last year. Had a great year for the Padres last year. And he takes the first pitch, a called strike. McReynolds hitting .260 so far this season for the Mets with 7 home runs, 22 RBIs. And the fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Becky has been reached for 6 home runs this year, and he misses with a fastball. 1-time All-Star. And off to a 1-5 start this year. Goes after a bad pitch. That evens the count at 2-2. McReynolds the power man for the Padres last year, and he chases a fastball, strike 3. So the Mets get 1 run on 1 hit, leave none, and the score at the end of 1. The Mets 1, the Padres coming up. Now here's a word from Continental Airlines. Ron Darling on the mound for the Mets with a record of 2-3, an earned run average of 5.28. Ron has worked 61 in the 3rd innings. He has given up 70 hits, 11 of them home runs. He has walked 27, struck out 42. He's had 4 wild pitches and 2 balks. Ron Darling.
Kind of really get into that Paul Simon in the background to give the lineup. That's a special request by me. Stan Jefferson, the left fielder, leading off. Joey Cora, the second baseman, hitting second. Tony Gwynn, the right fielder, batting third. At third base, Kevin Mitchell hitting fourth. John Cook, the first baseman, batting fifth. Benito Santiago, the fine catcher. He's a rookie, 1 of 4 in the Padre lineup. Shane Mack, the center fielder, batting seventh. Gary Templeton, the shortstop, hitting eighth. And Dave Dravecky, the pitcher, batting ninth.
And the defense for the Mets, Hernandez at first, Tuffle at second, Santana at shortstop, Johnson at third. In the outfield, McReynolds in left field, Wilson in center field, Strawberry in right. The catcher, Carter, and the first pitch by Ron Darling, bunted on and bunted foul. Stan Jefferson leading off, hitting .259. Former Met, 1 home run, 7 runs batted in this year. Stan has torn up the Mets this year so far this year, batting .538 against them with 7 hits and 13 at-bats. And the split finger fastball missed at strike 2. Jefferson from the Bronx in New York, and he was in the Kevin McReynolds grade. Fastball just missing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Darling with a lifetime record of 46-27. Lifetime against the Padres, 3-1. And the splitter for a ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Speaking of injuries and operations, Steve Garvey is being operated on tomorrow. Out for the season.
But plans on returning next year.
And another fastball, 3-2. The strange thing about the Padres, last year they only had 2 people on the DL. The year before that, 3, and the year before that, 3. Amazing record. But this year they've had 7 on the DL. And strike 3. So Jefferson called out on strikes as Darling picks up his first.
It's funny how it's kind of in vogue to argue like Stan Jefferson is arguing right there. He comes back and he looks at the outside corner, kind of peeks at it. That's one of the newer, trendier ways of arguing with the umpire. Umpires don't particularly like that, however.
And now the batter is Joey Cora, a newcomer to the Padres, hitting .238, no home runs, 12 runs batted in. He has good speed. 12 stolen bases. That's 5th in the National League. And the fastball outside. He also has walked 25 times. And he is 10th in the National League in that department. Joey Cora. And a strike call. 1-1 the count. Padres with a record of 11-37, 16 games behind. They're on a current pace to break the record of the 1962 Mets. And the fastball and the count 2-1.
Yeah, but they're not going to do it. That's why those things are current pace. I hate that. Did you say that?
I said that. I just wanted to get you out.
You just wanted to trigger a reaction out of me.
Mets that year lost 120 games. But the big news here in San Diego, the fact that Joan Kroc has taken the ball club off the market. It was up for sale. They had a buyer. And she now has said the time has elapsed. It's no longer for sale, at least throughout this year. And that's good news because the Padres have been in fine shape at one time. 1984, they won their division and defeated the Cubs and went to the World Series to lose to Detroit. Line drive, base hit.
Oh, good play by McReynolds. The one thing you notice about Kevin McReynolds going to his right is he always positions his feet so he can push off the right foot. Watch how he does it against Joey Cora. Cora with the wide turn. And watch how McReynolds, boy, this is a good shot and give you an idea. Watch his feet now. See how he pushes off? That's a little crow hop that an outfielder can take. And now he makes the strong throw to hold Cora to a single. Good play.
And if hitting were only that easy, reaching out and slapping a ball to left field for a base hit like that. Almost like it was written up, but it goes as a single instead of a double on the fine play by McReynolds, and it brings up Tony Gwynn. Gwynn, one of the bright spots for the Padres, hitting .337, 3 home runs, 13 runs batted in. And Darling throws his first curveball, gets a strike. Gwynn is second in the National League in hits with 59. He's 7th in batting average at .337. And he's hit .364 so far against the Mets this year, 4 for 11. Former National League batting champion. He is a native of San Diego. Cora with 12 stolen bases, a threat to steal. The Padres have 54 stolen bases on the year. There he goes, and the ball is grounded to Hernandez at first. He has only one play and takes it. And Cora goes to second base on the hit and run play. I don't think I'd use him on a hit and run play in this situation.
Not with the hole open. I was just thinking the same thing. You got your best hitter in the lineup, one of the best hitters in the National League. It's Larry Boa, the first-year manager of the Padres, so frustrated. The Padres have only won 11 ball games, only 6 at home. They've lost 18 here at Jack Murphy Stadium.
Too good a hitter for that. And
yeah, you're right.
Swung at a bad pitch to protect the runner and grounds out weakly, where he could look for the base hit and go for more than one.
And plus, he was behind in the count, so the chances of him getting something other than a fastball was good, and that's what he did get something other than a fastball. He got the split finger.
And now Kevin Mitchell, the batter. Kevin hitting 4th in the lineup. And the fastball right on by him. Kevin hitting .254 with 3 home runs, 11 runs batted in. Mitchell hitting .250 against the Mets, his former team. Played for the Mets last year. And he hits it hard to third. Johnson, a good play. Throws over to first base from his knees and gets his man. Fine, fine play by Kevin McReynolds. I should say by Howard Johnson. So that ends the inning. And the score at the end of 1. The Mets 1 and the Padres nothing. Now here's a word from the good old guys. To end the inning, and here it is.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Watch how Howard Johnson goes to his right and makes the strong throw. Well, that's exactly what a pitcher needs, I guess. Watch. Boy, this is some play.
That's a good play if he could stand up and make that throw.
Now that's what I was doing wrong in my career, throwing from my feet.
Just got in their knees. First pitch to Darryl Strawberry, who's been a hot batter, and it is strike 1. Darryl really has been on a hot streak, 6 for 13. Now hitting .278 for the year with 13 home runs. Had a 2 home run game day before yesterday, and along with all of his strong hitting, he has been walking at a tremendous rate.
Walked in 10 straight ball games. He's had 17 walks in his last 10 games.
His last 12 games, his on-base average has been .587.
Wow.
And a strike call. 2-2. Strawberry not happy with that call. Darryl with 31 runs batted in. And he's had 1 home run against the Padres this year. And he gets him. Strike 3.
As a matter of fact, it was against Dave Dravecky. And that was back on May 18th. Dravecky worked 6 innings in that ball game. But the Mets scored 4 times in the bottom of the 6th. And the pitch he threw to Darryl was a hanging curveball. So you can see there, all fastballs coming back.
So 1 away, second strikeout for Dravecky. The Mets leading 1-0 on the triple by Mookie Wilson. And Fly ball to center field by Tuffle. And Gary Carter, the batter. And the fastball for ball 1. Carter hitting .235, 4 home runs, 23 RBIs. His 4th home run coming 2 days ago, and it was a game-winning home run. And a strike call off the fastball. Carter hitting .333 in his last 7 games, and he's driven in 7 runs in his last 8. So he's showing some signs of coming out of that deep slump that he was in. And that one a ball. It's 2-1.
Gary went more than 5 weeks without a home run before he hit that home run that Ralph was talking about against the Giants on Wednesday.
And it's strike 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Carter 1 for 3 against Padre pitching this year, and 2 runs batted in. And the fastball fouled back. And it's out of play.
Well, Gary Carter just loves this ballpark. Really gives him renewed strength. Real shot in the arm. If you remember 2 years ago when he hit the 5 home runs in 2 ball games here. He has always been a deadly hitter against the Padres in this gorgeous, and I mean gorgeous, ballpark.
Located in Mission Valley. About 15 minutes from downtown San Diego, and the fastball, 3-2. 5 home runs in 2 ball games. The record, few others have done it. This ball ripped down the left field line. It's foul. Bill Carter making a bid for an extra base hit, missing by about a foot.
Each pitcher has a successful slot, and the Met right-handers know that Dave Draveki's good slot is that pitch inside. And Carter looking for that pitch inside and hitting it just a foot foul.
So again, the 3-2 pitch in ball 4. So Carter gets first base on Draveki's first walk. And it brings up Howard Johnson. Johnson hitting .236 for the year with 8 home runs, 25 RBIs. He's had 1 home run against the Padres this season and 3 runs batted in.
It's not that a guy, excuse me, Ralph, it's not that a guy like Dravecki won't mix his pitches up. But when he needs to get you out and he needs an out, his out pitch is inside on the right-handed hitters. You see a lot of right-handers jammed against Dravecki.
And Johnson looks at a fastball for ball 1. Johnson has had 5 home runs and 13 runs batted in his last 15 games. Carter being held on at first base. And it's popped up in foul territory. And again, it will be out of play.
I think you're making a lot of comments just to get a reaction out of me.
All I got was a look. I didn't get any verbal comment on that. Why is he holding him on at first?
Simmering. I'm mellowing.
I mean, there's no reason for him to hold him on. There's no
That's
question
exactly
about
right,
that.
Gary. Of course, it's a real compliment, the young first baseman, John Kruk, holding Carter on. Gary's not going anywhere. Attempts to steal maybe once or twice a year, and that's only on a hit-and-run play. And Johnson's not the type of guy you're going to hit and run with if you're Davy Johnson. Reason for that is that Johnson's a guy that you want to drive the ball out of the ballpark, and you want him to choose one of those inside fastballs against a guy like Dravecki. That's his power pitch.
Johnson with 5 home runs right-handed and 3 batting as a left-hander. And the fastball again fouled off. 2-2, the count to Howard Johnson. Mets leading 1-0. Scoring on a triple by Mookie Wilson, a sacrifice fly ball to center field by Tim Tuffle. And the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. And Dravecky with that low fastball picking up his third strikeout.
Dravecky, the type of pitcher, you saw the stride a little early by Johnson. His foot hits the ground before his arm comes around, and hitters have a timing device where by the time that foot hits the ground, they are already into their swing. And a guy who jerks the ball like Dravecky can really give fastball hitters like Johnson a lot of trouble. He was way out in front of that fastball.
And it brings up Rafael Santana. Santana hitting .268 for the year, 1 home run, 9 runs batted in, and he has been a hot batter. Takes a fastball, ball 1. In his last 17 games, he's batted .352. And in his last 30, he's batted .303. So after a very slow start, Santana hitting like he did 2 years ago for the Mets. Again, the low fastball. 2 balls, no strikes. Santana 2 for 10 against the Padres this season. Mets winning the first series from the Padres, 2 out of 3. Now their second series against San Diego. Dravecky signed originally by the Pittsburgh Pirates. 2-0 pitch. Ball 3, 3-0. On deck batter Ron Darling. And the 3-0 pitch. Ball 4, so 2 walks in the inning. And the Mets have runners at first and second with 2 men out. Ron Darling, the batter. Ron has had 3 hits, and they've all been 2 base hits. He's 3 for 20 on the year. Mets has a team hitting .271. That's tied for 3rd in the National League. They have 53 home runs. That's 4th in the National League, and they've scored 209 runs, 5th in the National League. Larry Bowa, former great shortstop, did play very briefly for the Mets at the end of his career. And a fastball, a ball. That's 6 in a row out of the strike zone. Padres 11th in hitting at .252, 12th in home runs with 23, and 12th in runs scored with 176. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes.
Here comes Galen Cisco, the pitching coach of the Padres. Galen was the pitcher back in 1959. My first pro at bat at Waterloo, Iowa. You know who the umpire was that night? The home plate umpire?
Doug Harvey.
Brent Musburger.
Really?
That's correct.
Brent Musburger.
Brent Musburger was the umpire in my first professional game. I was with those Keokuk Cardinals, that famed Keokuk Cardinals, Murderers Row.
Used to read about them all the time.
You know, it's interesting. Back in 1959, Ralph, the Cardinals had 24 farm teams, 5 Class D teams, and today the farm system of the Cardinals only consists of 5 ball clubs. It's about the norm for a big league club, 5 or 6 clubs.
And now Darling looks at the strike after Cisco gave Dravecky the wisdom and the way to get the ball over the plate, at least for 1 pitch. 2-1. Galen Cisco, of course, pitched for the Mets. And a check swing, bouncing ball to the first base side. And it's picked up by Brook, and the toss to the pitcher ends the inning. So 2 walks, 2 left. The score at the end of 1.5. The Mets won, the Padres nothing. Now here's a word from AT&T. Pittsburgh Pirates, he had previously been with the Mets, but now back in uniform. We'll tell you about that in a moment. Right now, though, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and WWOR-TV, and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WWOR-TV is prohibited. And as we go to the bottom of the second, the Mets leading 1-0. Here for the play-by-play, Tim McCarver.
All right, Ralph, thanks a lot. John Kruk will lead it off here in the bottom of the second. 1-0 New York. A Mookie Wilson triple and a sacrifice fly by Tim Tuffle in the first. Plated the only run in this game. John with a healthy 349 average. And he takes a fastball outside.
He also with a fine on-base average, a lot of walks.
This guy can hit. Notice that unusual style of standing straight up and then striding into the ball. He's a bit open. His initial stance, that is. There's a strike, 2-1 to John Kruk from Kaiser, West Virginia.
In the month of May, his on-base average has been .527. He's been on base 39 times and still a couple more days to go.
Another strike, 2-2. Speaking of the month of May, how about the Baltimore Orioles? 54 home runs in the month of May. They are one shy of tying a record for 1 month. They keep clubbing those homers. That ball catching the corner. 2-2 to Kruk. Curveball outside, 3-2.
Well, Eddie Murray finally got his bat hot a little bit, and that did help them. Oh, he was off to a terrible start.
This one almost hits Kruk. And he's on base again. The first walk issued by Darling.
Well, we look at it here. It's a breaking ball, and he gets out of the way in a hurry. It wasn't quite that close, but he's still on base.
And the batter, Benito Santiago. One of 4 rookies in the lineup tonight. The other 3, Shane Mack, Stan Jefferson, and Joey Cora. Swing and a miss.
Highly touted young catcher with very good running speed and a strong throwing arm. So far against the Mets, he's 1 for 11.
Santiago had 19 stolen bases last year in Las Vegas, 17 home runs. He's quite a prospect. Well hit to left field, but McReynolds over and has room. And he makes the catch in foul territory, 1 away. And the first time that we will have a chance to see the young Shane Mack from Cerritos, California, 23 years old. Batted .281 at Beaumont last year, .362 at Las Vegas in limited service. But he had, interestingly, he had 25 hits in Las Vegas, the AAA affiliate of the Padres, and 6 were triples. Fastball is high, 1-0. 1-0 New York.
He also played on the 1984 U.S. Olympic team from UCLA, and he was the first-round pick of the San Diego Padres in 1984 in that draft of June.
There was another player that played in the outfield on that team, the son of Fred Green, the former Pittsburgh Pirate left-hander, the pitcher. And his son, Gary Green, was also drafted by the Padres, also in the first round. It was a supplemental first-round draft choice. So the Padres plucked 2 outfielders from that team. Seemed like all of those Olympians signed, doesn't it? Will Clark of the San Francisco Giants. Grounded back to Darling, over to Santana, and on to Hernandez for the double play. Quickly, a 1-6-3 double play. Gets Darling out of mild trouble here in the second. It's 1-0 New York after 2. And we'll be back after this word from, appropriately, McDonald's. McReynolds in the foreground, and the gentleman to his right, Bill Almond, sitting there with his cap on, just acquired, as Ralph said, for Al Pedrique and Scott Little from the Pittsburgh Pirates, obviously in uniform. Wilson drives one again deep to right field. It's going to be a double for Wilson, who tripled his first time up, and he has been red hot.
Mookie picked up his 4th 3-base hit his first time up and later on scored. Now he gets his 8th 2-base hit, and he's on his way to having a shot at the cycle, a single and a home run, all he needs now to go with his double and triple. So a leadoff double by Mookie Wilson. And the Mets leading 1-0, have a runner in scoring position.
Tim Teufel, the batter, and there's an interesting story surrounding the Bill Almond trade related to me by Frank Cashin, the general manager of the Mets, who of course is on this road trip. Teufel with the sacrifice fly is first at bat. And he lines one foul, 0-1. The trade has been in the works for the last couple of days. However, a couple of days ago, it was almost solidified. Frank had made the deal with Sid Thrift, the general manager of the Pirates. But Al Pedrique, who started the season with the Mets and went to Tidewater, came up with a bad shoulder. So Frank Cashin, morally and professionally also, foul back 0-2, contacted Sid Thrift, the general manager of the Pirates, and relayed this information. And the next day, it was decided that Pedrique was healthy enough to go on to the Pittsburgh Pirates. So he and Little were traded. The trade was consummated. But it reminds you that even the minor league infielders are coming up with problems in the Met organization. I mean, the pitching staff is down. 6 pitchers since spring training have gone down. Now Aguilera, David Cone with the seriously broken little finger. Much more serious than the Mets had expected. 0-2 to Teufel. Nobody out. Wilson at second. We're in the third. 1-0 New York.
Everybody had said the Mets had the best pitching in the National League, but they're no good to you when they're on the DL.
A fake break towards second. Wilson back. No throw. Another one fouled away. Gloved by Keith Hernandez in the on-deck circle.
Even though he doesn't have a glove. One of the few players to bat without a batting glove.
George Brett of the Kansas City Royals comes to mind. Strike 3. Caught the corner on Teufel, and that's the 4th strikeout for Dave Dravecky. 1 away.
Right here, fastball coming back over the outside part of the plate. The catcher, Benito Santiago, sitting outside of the strike zone.
Keith Hernandez, the batter. Yeah, with 2 strikes and no balls, a catcher can sit outside, and if the pitcher has the control to hit that mitt, even though the ball may be just a bit off the plate, usually an umpire will give him that pitch. Hernandez popped to short on a nice play by Gary Templeton, his first at bat. Templeton and Hernandez, formerly teammates with the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals, by the way, in first place, and the Mets trailing the Cardinals by 5.5 games. Nice play by Santiago. 1-0 to Hernandez.
This is a situation where you think that Mookie might attempt to steal third base, but it's a tough steal because you have a left-hand batter up there, a good hitter up there. Mookie playing it cool right now.
Strike 1, 1-1. Left-hander. Obviously a clear view for Santiago to throw to third, and one of his strong traits among many is that he possesses a cannon hanging from his right shoulder. 1-1 to Hernandez. Santiago threw out 48% in Las Vegas last year. 48% of the runners attempting to steal. And there's the release, and I mean that was a rope he threw to second base. Wilson back in time.
Right here, he shifts out, fires it down there. Mookie had a fairly short lead, so he doesn't have any real difficulty getting back.
One of those convenient throws where Templeton's close to second anyway because Hernandez is hitting, to keep Wilson a step closer. And Keith fouls it back. So it's 1-2. Make that 2-2 to Keith Hernandez. 1-0 New York. Both hits for the Mets by Mookie Wilson. A triple in the first, a double here to open the third. Kevin McReynolds on deck. Oops, a breezer. 3-2 to Hernandez.
Keith has had 12 hits in his last 6 ball games.
Boy, he has been red hot. Sizzling, as a matter of fact. Punches one foul. He's batted in 16 of his last 18, hitting .423 over that span. And he's got a modest 6-game hitting streak on the line. The Mets have won 3 in a row, sweeping the Giants up at Candlestick. An off day yesterday, and 3 here this weekend, of course. And all games will be televised on WOR. Another 10:05 start tomorrow evening, and then 4:35 on Sunday. Then the Mets travel north to Los Angeles and play 3 night games against the Los Angeles Dodgers. And he fouls another one away.
Chicken is here in the stands tonight. Came out on the field between innings, last inning, did his little act. It started here as a chicken representative radio station in town, and then he became too big for his nest. Went out on his own.
Hernandez staying alive. I mentioned that that game on Sunday will be at 4:35. That was incorrect. That game will start at 4:05 New York time.
Right here on WWOR, Channel 9.
Would I miss a call letter?
Missed one.
Oh, okay.
It's a hard letter to pronounce. Hardest in the alphabet.
Another one fouled away. Dravecky 1-5 on the year. Padres lead the National League in home runs yielded. They have walked more batters than any other team, any other pitching staff. They're last in club pitching with an ERA of over 5.19. Walked 193, yielded 63 home runs. Not only that, they have hit more batters than any other pitching staff in the National League. 16. They've given up the second most hits next to the Atlanta staff, as Santiago wants to talk to Dravecky. So the San Diego staff has really been struggling. Wilson at second, 1 out, 1-0 New York. Well hit to right center, but there's Tony Gwynn. Wilson will tag and not try it with 2 out. Had Gwynn caught that ball for the first out, I think Wilson would have tried it. But not so since it was the second out. There's really too big a risk involved. 2 outs here in the third, and the batter, Kevin McReynolds. Kevin struck out his first time up. Kevin in a bit of a slide. He was up over 300, but has been dipping over the last week. His average now under 260, and he fouls one off his ankle.
Batted .288 last year for the Padres with 26 home runs, 96 runs batted in.
He had a chance to play in the World Series in 1984, but he was injured in Game 4 of the National League Championship Series. Had a chip bone in his wrist that made him ineligible for the World Series against the Tigers. The Tigers won that series in 5 games. Inside, 2 balls and a strike to Kevin McReynolds. Tim McCarver along with Ralph Kiner, Steve Zabriskie, bring you another Mets game here on WWOR. McReynolds gets up under it. Fly ball to center field, and young Shane Mack makes the catch. No runs, a hit, 1 left. As Mookie Wilson's leadoff double allows him to die on second base. It's 1-0 New York after 2.5, and we'll be back after this word from the good old Skies.
They'll open up against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they have a special day set up for Saturday, June 6th at 1:35 p.m. It's Gatorade World's Champs Baseball Cap Day, as all fans will receive a specially designed baseball cap featuring the World's Champs logo, courtesy of Gatorade. Tickets are available at all Ticketron outlets, Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or by calling 718-507-TIXX during regular business hours for all ticket information.
And also the big Banner Day doubleheader against the Pittsburgh Pirates. That'll be Sunday, June 7th at 1:05 p.m. and what a fun day it'll be. Emerson will be the sponsor, of course, as all fans are invited to enter this traditional Banner Day contest between games of the Mets-Pirates doubleheader. There'll be thousands of dollars worth of prizes given away, including the grand prize of a 25-inch stereo remote control color television, a VHS stereo video cassette recorder courtesy of Emerson. Banners. Now this is the key right here. Banners must be carried by 1 or 2 persons and will be judged on neatness and originalities. And you can call 718-507-TIXX for more information. And here's Gary Templeton to lead off the third with the Padres trailing 1-0. Ground ball sharply on the second hop. Hernandez wins the foot race as Gary Templeton, who is off to a very slow start. Grounds out to lead off the third inning, and the batter will be Dave Dravecky.
Pitcher number 43, Dave Dravecky.
Dave 2 for 6 on the year. Ralph, you mentioned the Padres here in San Diego are no longer up for sale this season. And Ballard Smith, the general manager of the Padres, expected to step down in a couple of weeks. There will be, we understand, a restructuring of the Padre organization.
Ballard Smith, the son-in-law of Mrs. Joan Kroc, who acquired the ball club when her husband died a couple of years ago.
Swing and a miss, 2-1 to Dravecky. The most pressing need of the Padres, we also understand, is to re-sign the lease that is up in 1988, the lease for the stadium. Dravecky bunts back to Darling. 2 outs, and that'll bring up Stan Jefferson, the leadoff batter. It's kind of a short lease to sign for an expansion club, a 20-year lease, I would think. I'm not much about that part of the business, but there are a lot of leases in baseball that are signed for a lot longer period.
Of course, this is the unusual situation of this ballpark actually being built for the San Diego Chargers. There was no Major League Ball club in town at the time the Chargers moved from Los Angeles down to San Diego, and it was originally set up as a football operation. Usually it's the other way around.
As a matter of fact, the AAA team of the Cincinnati Reds had a team here in San Diego, and that ball club played in this ballpark. Tony Perez was a member of the '66 San Diego Redlegs. Stan Jefferson struck out his first time up on a 3-2 fastball. You're watching Mets Baseball 87 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Glad you've joined us tonight. There's the strike, 2-1 to Jefferson.
The man that was instrumental in having this stadium built was Jack Murphy.
Jack, of course, the brother of our colleague over on the radio side, Bob Murphy, who has been, along with Ralph, with the Mets since their inception back in 1962.
He led the fight to get the Chargers to move from Los Angeles down to San Diego, and they played in San Diego Stadium, which is really basically a high school stadium. And this ballpark was built for them, and it's named after Jack Murphy. He was the sports editor of the San Diego Union.
Fastball is high, so Stan Jefferson is on there. That's a second walk issued by Darling. He has struck out one, and he has yielded one hit. So Jefferson a threat to run. He has 8 stolen bases and 13 tries, and Gary Carter probably talking to Ronnie about just that.
Both of Darling's walks were on 3-2 pitches.
Joey Cora, the batter. Kevin McReynolds very deep in left field, especially for a guy like Cora, who is a punch hitter.
And he got his base hit just punching the ball in front of McReynolds' last time up.
You don't often see the center fielder more shallow than the opposite fielder, but in this situation, Mookie Wilson much more shallow than McReynolds.
Strawberry also very deep in right.
There goes the runner. The throw to second. Jefferson's in there. So Stan Jefferson steals his 9th base, and he's there with 2 out.
And right here, a good jump by Jefferson. It is stolen base number 55 for the Padres, and he had it easily, getting a good jump on Darling, who does have a quick move to first. Throw by Carter, just not in time. Padres now with 55 stolen bases and 88 attempts.
To Joey Cora. Cora from Caguas, Puerto Rico, but went to Vanderbilt University. The #1 choice out of Vanderbilt in 1985. Joey Cora. Pops it up. Left side, shortstop Rafael Santana calls for it, waving off Johnson, and he makes the play. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left after 3. 1-0 New York. We'll be back after this word from Busch Beer.
I have taken on many fighters and tried many beers. One beer isn't a class by itself. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great and it's less filling. It weighs in at 1/3 less calories than the regular beer. Yes, I discovered your greatest beer, but I never met your greatest fighter. Hey, who is this Billy Martin anyway?
Billy Martin, he's warm, he's gentle, good looking too.
I got to meet this guy.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Well, this is not the fault of WWOR. That is the chicken at work, the San Diego chicken. And you have heard of a pitcher who has the equipment of sinker, slider with an occasional sailor, Well, I am sitting next to an occasional sailor, Steve Zabriskie. Here he is. Tell us about that day on the San Diego Bay today.
I'll tell you something. Mr. Rick Miner and I went out.
All right.
And that's a boatload right there, just the two of us. We had a great 2.5 hours on Mission Bay today. As Darryl Strawberry leads it off here in the 4th inning, New York leading 1-0. 2 hits for the Mets, 1 for the Padres, and Strawberry struck out his first time up. And a swing and a miss. 1-1. The day just got better out on the Bay as the day went along. Wish we could have stayed longer.
Uncharacteristically overcast here.
Well hit to left field and gone. Darryl Strawberry hits home run number 14. And he has now hit half of his home runs off left-handed pitching this year. Mets lead 2-0.
Well, it doesn't matter what part of the ballpark Darryl Strawberry hits a ball in. If he hits it on the good part of the bat, the ball just jumps. Tremendous power the other way. That ball just shot out of this ballpark. Home run number 14 for Strawberry.
Gary Carter takes a ball high. Carter walked in the 2nd inning. And Gary hits it pretty well into left center field, and this ball is out of here. Back-to-back home runs for New York, and they now lead it 3-0.
And that's the 2nd time in 2 days that Strawberry and Carter have hit back-to-back home runs. The 5th time this year the Mets have done such. They did it 3 times last year, and Gary reaching. He is so strong. That really not your classic swing. Reaching a pretty good pitch by Dravecky, but as Jim Cotton used to say, if a pitch goes that far, it can't be that good a pitch.
At least from a pitcher's perspective.
It might look good on a chart if you draw it, but not after he smokes it.
Look good on paper. Howard Johnson struck out his first time up, and he misses the high fastball for strike 1. Rojo 3 for 9 this year against Padre pitching with a home run. Speaking of home runs, Dravecky has now given up 8 in just over 40 innings of work. Foul back out of play. And the count 0-2. Mets now have 55 home runs on the year as Storm Davis, recently relegated to the bullpen for the Padres after being ineffective as a starter, loosens up a little bit.
And it's very interesting that Storm Davis would be the guy called upon to be the first guy up in the bullpen tonight.
High and tight, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And the reason I say that is there was an article in the paper today saying that with the depleted Mets pitching staff that Frank Cashin may be wanting to talk to Trader Jack McKeon to see about the state of Storm Davis.
They have had conversations, Frank telling me before the game, that they talked initially when the Padres were in New York. But the Mets situation is such, and every club knows it, no one is going to help the National League and world champions of last year. This ball rips foul down the left field line. The count's still 1-2. Without getting a great deal in return. And the clubs feel that they do have the Mets over a barrel, knowing the decimated state of their pitching staff. Consequently, Frank telling me before the game that he will not commit what he called genocide with this ball club and give away too many of the fine young prospects they've spent all these years building up in their farm system. Down low, 2-2. And both the San Diego Padres and the Chicago White Sox, with whom the Mets have had discussions, have just asked for too much in return for the Major League starting pitchers that they have available to trade. So no deal has been done, but the Mets are continuing to make every effort to make a deal. Fouled straight back, still 2-2 to Johnson. Nobody out here in the 4th inning, as Strawberry and Carter have hit solo home runs.
It's a selection of a rather strong word, genocide.
Yeah, and that's Frank's word.
Yeah, genocide of the farm system. Man.
So you know that the clubs must have been asking for a great deal for him to use that term. Johnson waited, but not quite long enough, and he rips that off-speed delivery foul. Still 2-2.
Well, the one bright hope as far as the pitching staff is concerned is that Dwight Gooden will return next Friday evening against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Roger McDowell is back. The Mets have now lost 6 pitchers to serious problems. The exception maybe of Sid Fernandez, who missed only 1 start, but there's still mild concern that that leg injury may be a recurring problem.
Skied into short left field, and Templeton is right there. 1 away. This game is being brought to you in part tonight by RC Cola. People go out of their way for the taste of RC. And by your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Lincoln Mercury Mercor dealers. So 1 out here in the 4th inning, with New York leading 3-0, and the batter now Rafael Santana, who has been a red-hot hitter of late and walked his first time up. Ball 1.
Steve, I think the analogy worth repeating also, comparison, I suppose, the Mets to the Chicago Cubs back in 1985.
Grounded foul.
Mentioned that before, but at one time during the 1985 season, the Chicago Cubs, winners of the National League East in 1984, had all 5 pitchers on the disabled list. And of course, they did not win that year. They did not win last year, but presently are 2nd in the National League as far as pitching is concerned. So their pitching staff has rebounded. The Mets hope that it doesn't take 2 years for their pitching staff to rebound, and by no means are we writing off the 1987 season. But when you lose that many pitchers, you're like General Lee trying to fight all those battles he did undermanned.
Well, that's what Frank Cashin and Al Harrison and Davey Johnson and Mel Stottlemyre, they've all been doing, is getting help where they can find it. Joe McIlvaine.
So far, that help has come from the minor league system, but you wonder how long you can continue to deplete your minor league system and bring up pitchers before they're ready.
Darling with a count of 2 balls and no strikes. Ron grounded to first his first time up. Well, the Mets have always been very cognizant of the fact that they do not want to rush players, and Frank Cashin's administration has done everything it can do, and of course they've been pressured with people like Strawberry and Gooden to move them through the system, but they are very conservative in that regard, and this has forced them into a situation that they just would rather not be in and not do long-term damage trying to effect a short-term band-aid. Darling walks. 3rd walk issued by Dravecky. With 2 out, he'll be at first for Mookie Wilson, who is 2 for 2 with a triple, a double, and a run scored. Pounded off the plate to short. Templeton will go to Cora at 2nd, and the inning is over. But the Mets increase their lead to 3-0 as Strawberry and Carter hit back-to-back home runs here in the 4th inning. And after 3.5, 3-zip the Mets. And we're back after this for RC Cola.
Look at the beleaguered Dave Dravecky. Let's take a look at the National League. Cincinnati over Pittsburgh. That's a final. 13-6. 4-4. Chicago at Atlanta. That game in extra innings now in the 10th. The St. Louis Cardinals continue rolling right along. It's 8-2 now. The Cardinals over the Houston Astros. That game in the 8th inning. No score. Philadelphia at Los Angeles. And the Expos failed to score up at Candlestick. The San Francisco Giants batting in the bottom of the 1st inning.
And batting in the bottom of the 4th inning, Tony Gwynn, who is 0 for 1. enter the game second in the league in hits with 59, behind Jeffrey Leonard of San Francisco, who has 68. Tony grounded to Keith Hernandez in the first inning. One and one. The irascible Larry Boa, flanked by Benito Santiago. 2-1.
Bo had 3 meetings in spring training. He's had 3 meetings during the season. There's really not. You can't meet your way out of a batting slump and a pitching slump.
3-1 now.
Boa going through some very, very frustrating times right now. But you know, his whole career was filled with frustrations. He was cut twice from his high school baseball team. Everybody said Larry Boa couldn't play in the major leagues. Dick Ruthven used to kid him, said his left-handed swing was like he was swinging underwater. And that underwater swing, I'll tell you, got 2,200 hits in the major leagues and 2,222 major league games.
Gwynn hits it deep to center, but Mookie Wilson, right next to the fence, makes the catch.
Well, that ball really carried. Looked like Gwynn got up under it too much. And Mookie Wilson flags it down. This is the softest cushion to run into if you're an outfielder in the National League. Nice.
Well, you see those last-minute adjustments by Wilson to the flight of that ball. And then making the catch before banging into the wall. Nice play. 1 ball to Kevin Mitchell, who grounded to third. Howard Johnson with an outstanding play to get Mitchell to end the first inning, and that came with a runner at third base. Now. Darling has walked 2. He has allowed just 1 base hit. That was a single by Joey Cora in the first. And a fastball for 3-1. Well hit to left, but McReynolds right there to haul in the line drive. 2 away. So 2 balls well hit off Ron Darling here in the 4th inning. 2 out and nobody on. Now the chicken tore the uniform off the bat boy earlier, so the bat boy returns a favor and removes the chicken's feathers. The chicken plucking bat boy.
And that's the end of that tune. Don't expect me to comment on that.
John Kruk fouls it back. Strike 1. Kruk walked in the second, but was erased on the front end of a double play. He chases that splitter diving out of the strike zone. 0-2. Kruk has hit Darling very well coming into the game. 4 for 7 in his 1 year in the National League against Darling. One ball, 2 strikes. 2 out and nobody on here in the 4th, and the Mets lead it 3-0. Fastball ripped into right center for a base hit just over the glove of Tim Tuffle. Kruk will be at first with 2 away with only the 2nd Padre hit. So here's Benito Santiago, one of 6 rookies on the Padres roster. Cora, Jefferson, Mack, and Santiago all in this lineup tonight. They also have James Steele and Jimmy Jones, who are also rookies. Grounded to second up the middle off Tuffle's glove, a base hit. And the deflection will allow Kruk to go to third base. So with runners at first and third and 2 out, Darling in his first real jam of the night.
And you call it right, Steve. The deflection does allow Kruk to go to third. Had Tuffle not deflected that ball, then Kruk would have stopped at second base, but Timmy diving for it. The ball hit the heel of his glove and bounces into center field.
So 2 hits after 2 are out, and here's Shane Mack, who grounded into a double play to end the second inning. Too tight, ball 1.
Mike Swanson, the public relations director of the San Diego Padres, was telling me a great story. He said that the best line that he heard about Shane Mack was that he acts like a rookie. He said, you know, not a lot of rookies act like rookies anymore. They act like they've been here for 15 years. Just kind of a sign of the times of young players.
Well, one of the stories of the Padres last year was John Kruk coming up, and everybody said, gee, he's so poised. He hit well. He plays the game like a veteran. He doesn't act like a rookie.
Yeah.
Now Mack comes along. They say they like him because he does act like a rookie.
Base hit down the right field line. Kruk scores to make it 3-1. Strawberry up with the ball, and Mack into second with a double. Santiago holds it third. So the Padres score with 2 out here in the 4th inning to make it 3-1, and now have runners at second and third with 2 out.
He may act like a rookie, but he doesn't hit like a rookie. Just rope down the right field line. And Shane Mack has his first Major League RBI and his second double of the season.
Mack was hitting .336 at Las Vegas. 5 homers, 26 RBIs, and 11 doubles. And he was 13-0 in stolen bases. So he has some speed as well. Here's Gary Templeton, who grounded to first baseman Keith Hernandez back in the 3rd. Strike 1. Templeton really struggling. Entered the game hitting .192. And he's 0 for 8 against New York pitching this year. Strike 2 on the corner.
An interesting development. If you're thinking that Darling's trying to pitch around Templeton, he's obviously not with a count 0-2. And the reason for that is because if he pitches around Templeton, Dave Dravecky will not be the hitter. Storm Davis continuing to throw. That may be a smokescreen. But Darling and Carter taking no chances.
1 and 2.
And playing the percentages, you want a guy like Templeton who is struggling if they're going to tie the ball game for a guy like that to do it, not a hot hitter.
Storm Davis appears to be ready. Dravecky is on the on-deck circle, but that's only because someone's required to be there. Good stop by Carter on the ball in the dirt, and the count is 2-2.
A lot of times in a situation like this, a manager will put a pitcher out there and warm him up. And then if Templeton is walked or he gets on first base, he'll allow the starting pitcher to hit for himself. You don't know right now, but Davy Johnson, looking at Bo over there, can't take the chance. You don't want to walk the go-ahead run to first base and then have a pinch hitter drive in a couple of runs and put the go-ahead run in scoring position. That's why they're going right after Templeton, and I think it's proper procedure.
Would you let the pitcher bat with the bases loaded and 2 out?
No, I wouldn't. Not the way the Padres have been struggling.
Neither would I.
That's behind him, and it hit him. And that's a break for New York that the ball did hit him, because Carter had no chance to stop that ball, and Santiago would have scored from third if the ball had not hit Templeton.
Well, the Met pitchers frustrated because of all the injuries, and Ron Darling frustrated for a different reason. He's allowed 11 home runs on the year. He's 2-3. He is nowhere near his form of a year ago, or the year before that, for that matter, and he does not know what's wrong, and neither does Mel Stottlemyre. He has really been struggling.
Marvell Wynn will be the pinch hitter with the bases loaded and 2 out. So Dravecky out of the game. Templeton being hit by the pitch, and that's the first batter this year that Ron Darling has hit. Mets leading 3-1. As the Padres have scored 1 and have the bases loaded with all the action happening here in the 4th inning after 2 are out. Breaking ball is outside for ball 1. Marvell Wynn as a pinch hitter is 2 for 7 with 2 RBIs, hitting .262 overall on the year. Fastball hit off the end of the bat to short. Santana to second, just in time. Very close play as Templeton was hustling from first. And the inning is over, but the Padres score 1 run on 3 hits, and they leave the bases loaded here in the bottom of the 4th inning. After 4, 3-1 New York. We're back to San Diego after this for Frank Bartles and Ed James.
He has a 1-5 record, a healthy ERA. He started 7 games, and only recently was he shoved into the bullpen because of his ineffectiveness as a starting pitcher. Acquired during the offseason in the Terry Kennedy trade. Storm Davis, he's walked 26 and struck out 23, and that's a pretty good indication of how he's been going. Whenever you see that 1-to-1 ratio of base on balls to strikeouts for a pitcher, then you know he's been falling behind in the count, giving up a lot of fat fastballs. Big league hitters like that. It's like batting practice when you fall behind like that.
Tim Teufel has been hitting the National League pitching as if it were batting practice.
Boy, he has.
All season long. Teufel in this game 0 for 1, but he did drive in the Mets' first run with a well-hit sacrifice fly to center, and he swings and misses at Davis's first offering for strike 1. Teufel has been on base with either a hit or a walk in all but 5 of the games he's played this season. 1-1. Fastball grounded to third. Mitchell with an easy play. 1 away. And that'll bring up Keith Hernandez.
Keith Hernandez, first base.
Kevin Mitchell's face is all around town on billboards driving around San Diego yesterday and today about summer youth programs involved in helping the youth of San Diego try to find jobs this summer. A very worthy cause. Mitch, a very popular member of the New York Mets. And a good guy from San Diego here. He's back on his home turf.
Strike call to Hernandez inside, and Keith didn't like it. He has a little word for Lee Wire. Mitchell cares very much about that program because, as we look at the pitch again, he was involved in gang warfare as a youth here in San Diego, and his brother was killed in a gang fight here in San Diego. So Kevin is doing all he can, and of course credits baseball with getting him out of that situation. Now that he's back in San Diego, he wants to keep as many kids as possible out of that same way of life. Breaking ball fouled off. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Hernandez. Keith 0 for 2, working on a 6-game hitting streak. All he's done over the 6 games is hit .522. Still 1-2. One out, nobody on. Top of the 5th inning, and New York leading San Diego 3-1. Grounded to short. Templeton to Kruk, and 2 away. So Storm Davis so far to his first 2 hitters, getting them to beat the ball down on the ground. And here's Kevin McReynolds, 0 for 2, struck out and fly to shallow center. McReynolds still very popular here, although he was booed when he was first announced and applauded when he made it out, particularly when he struck out. Before the game, people here in San Diego were still clamoring to get his autograph. Breaking ball in the dirt, ball 1. Davis doesn't throw hard, but he does have good breaking stuff. There's another breaking ball, line for a base hit into left center field. Mack over to cut it off, makes a good play. McReynolds going to second. He's in there. Both the fielder and the hitter with good plays here.
That's exactly right. With 2 outs, you got to make the outfielder throw you out, and Shane Mack almost does it. We saw McReynolds make a fine play earlier in the game with that good footwork out there. And look at young Shane Mack, strong arm. Well, you love to see young outfielders with that kind of aggressiveness. I mean, if he bobbles that ball, McReynolds is going to be on second anyway, so you might as well come up firing.
Well, that was picture perfect the way he took that crow hop and
really
set himself up. And he threw a BB to Cora at second base, but McReynolds just in there ahead of it. So with the 2-out double, Strawberry will be walked intentionally to put the force in effect and bring up Gary Carter. Darrell homered his last time up, 1 for 2. Jay Horwitz informs us that before that double by McReynolds here in the 5th, Kevin had been 0 for 19. So a little homecoming. Maybe he'll shake McReynolds out of his slump. Gary Carter appears to have shaken his slump as he has entered this game hitting .333 in his last 7. And counting tonight, he has driven in now 8 runs in the last 9 games with this homer in the 4th inning. Fastball, foul out of play for strike 1.
That, by the way, the 11th game in a row that Strawberry has walked, and I think the major league record held by Darrell Evans at 15. We will check that.
Strawberry's now walked 18 times in the last 12 games.
And in 11 straight games, he has drawn at least 1 walk.
Fastball right in there, 0-2. Dirt bounces away from San Diego, but not far enough for the runners to advance. So 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Pardon me, Steve. The National League record, Darrell Evans, back in 1976, in the month of April, walked in 15 straight games. The Major League record held by Roy Cullenbine, who walked in 22 straight games back in 1947. He walked in at least 1 game. So there's Strawberry 4 shy of the National League record.
And the way he's going, another good play by San Diego. The way he's going right now, he has a shot at it because he's hot. And the way the Mets lineup is set up, if things continue as they have been, Darrell usually a prime candidate for an intentional walk at some time in the ball game.
That's one of the reasons he's hot, too, is because he's walking a lot and being much more selective as a hitter.
And this one gets through San Diego, and the runners will advance. McReynolds to third and Strawberry to second, and the count goes full. 3-2 to Carter with 2 out. I think they're trying to get Terry to go for one in the dirt.
Right through the trap door right here. It kind of scoots between the legs of Santiago. Catchers are trained when they go down for a ball like that to close the trap door, and that's with the glove and the hand behind it, so the hand isn't out in front. You don't get a split finger. But that glove came up just a little. Santiago allowing the wild pitch.
Ball 4 to Carter. So after the wild pitch, and Carter initially with a 2-strike count, Gary walks to reload the bases. Larry Boa has spent a lot of time gesturing just like that all season long out of sheer frustration.
You could see it right there.
I asked him before the game during batting practice how his fingernails were. He says, I don't have any left.
Down to his elbow.
He's a notorious fingernail biter.
Oh, he is.
And you're right, he doesn't have much to chew on, I'll guarantee you. They're just barely there. Howard Johnson, the batter, and Hojo takes a strike over the inside corner. Howard has struck out and popped to short. But he has driven in 13 runs in his last 15 games, and he's got the bases loaded with 2 out here in the 5th. Greg Booker throwing for San Diego. Another good play by San Diego, and another one in the dirt. 1-1. Well, what you going to do now? That's a great pose.
What's not so great is what it represents.
Well, that's for sure. Inside, 2 balls, 1 strike. And Boa with some words for Lee Wire. New York leading by 2, 3-1. We're in the top of the 5th inning. The bases are loaded with 2 out. And the count to Howard Johnson, 2-1. And that one a strike over the inside corner, and it's 2-2. Playable outside of third. Mitchell and Templeton there. Mitchell in fair territory, and the inning is over. So the Mets load the bases after 2 are out here in the 5th, but can't get another run home. They still lead 3-1 after 4.5, however, and we're back after this for the good old Sky. His body language, but he's got some verbal language for Storm Davis here. After Davis pitched the rocky inning, a little encouragement. He got the first 2 hitters to ground out, but then wound up loading the bases and eventually getting Howard Johnson to pop out to end the inning. So Davis has been struggling, working out of the bullpen now, and yes, there is a West Coast chapter, and I'm really surprised that they can write. But they're here in force, both of them, rooting for Bill Webb. As we go to the bottom of the 5th, a guy who also has fans everywhere, Tim McCarver.
Oh, come on. Thanks.
True.
Stan Jefferson, the batter. Stanley 0 for 1. He has walked and struck out, stolen a base, his 9th of the year, and he takes the fastball high. It's 3-1 New York. 5 hits for the Mets, 4 for the lowly Padres. Padres with the worst record in baseball entering tonight's play. Ball 2. Stan went to Harry S. Truman High in the Bronx, attended Bethune-Cookman College. It's down in your neck of the woods, isn't it, in Florida?
Bethune-Cookman is in Florida.
3-0 to Stanley. Matter of fact, it's in Daytona Beach.
Yep, about 40 miles from my house.
Well, Jefferson leads off the 5th with a walk, and a disgruntled Darling having problems.
Here's the American League scoreboard on the Nissan scoreboard tonight. Oakland defeated the Yankees 13-5. Cleveland over Milwaukee 9-6. Detroit pounded Minnesota 15-7. Toronto 3, California 1. Chicago over Boston 8-6. Seattle beat Baltimore 7-3. And in the 8th inning, Texas is all over Kansas City 16-4.
Wow. Bobby Bobby Valentine and his Texas Rangers, huh? Here's Joey Cora. Joey 1 for 3. He's 1 for 2. He singled into left field in the first inning. 3-1 New York. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. 10:05 New York start tomorrow evening, and a 4:05 start on Sunday. Both games on WWOR, and the fastball is high and outside. 5 straight balls thrown by Darling here in the 5th. Ball 2, 2-0.
2 years ago, Ron Darling led the National League in walks allowed. And last year, as Mel Stottlemyre comes out to talk, he had 114 in 1985. Last year, one of the reasons of his improved season, although his one-loss record was very similar, his effectiveness was much greater. He cut the walks way down. And this year, as Randy Myers gets his jacket off, and Roger McDowell almost had the bench tip over on him when the other guys got up. He was leaning back, and there wasn't anything to anchor it. And Roger got awakened rudely. Anyway, one of the reasons that Ronnie has been struggling this year is that in that fashion, he has gone back to 1985 form in pitching behind the hitters and allowing too many free passes.
There's a strike, 2-1. Not as bad when you fall behind the smaller hitters, the guys with not a lot of power, but you fall behind those big guns like Darling did in his last outing, falling behind Pedro Guerrero twice. Guerrero got him for 2 home runs. He has given up 11 this year. It's 2-1 to Cora. There goes Jefferson, and the bunt attempt is foul. So Jefferson will retreat to first base. It's 2-2 to Joey Cora. Nobody out. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Jefferson looked like he, well, here's Myers getting up now. Also, Jeff Ennis got up. Now watch Roger. He goes to lean back, and the bench almost went back. I think he was mimicking Myers taking his jacket off, and there was nobody else on the bench, and he almost tipped it over.
It's 2-2 to Joey Cora.
I was going to say Jefferson got up at second and came back looking as if he was limping a little bit.
He's got one of those Jim Brown back to the huddle walks. Yeah. Kind of that swagger.
I used to love that.
Yeah.
Jim would carry the ball and cut and slash and drag guys with him and make 10 yards. And then he'd get up as if he could never, ever make it back to the huddle. He'd just get back in time to hear him call his number again. And then he'd come busting out of there with that ball running over you one more time.
Ooh, close there. That throw was down, and Darling almost got Jefferson.
Jefferson having to dive back. Darling does have an outstanding move. As you see, Hernandez just tagging him an instant after Jefferson touched the bag.
And there he goes. Swing and a miss. Throw. Safe at second base. Joey Cora's swing taking him into the lane of Gary Carter. No interference called.
Carter makes a good throw, but you see he has to get around the impediment of the hitter. He has to get up and over instead of firing straight out and through the strike zone. And Jefferson gets his hand in there ahead of Santana's tag for his second stolen base of the night. And Stan now with 10 on the year. And he has been bothered by a sore shoulder. And he's stretching it a little right there. He may have aggravated it a little bit.
That's why he was moved to left field tonight by Larry Boa. Here's Tony Gwynn, the fine right fielder of the Padres. He's 0 for 2 on the night. He drove Wilson deep to center his last at bat. Tony entered the game batting .337. That's 5th in the National League in hitting. How about the May that Jack Clark of the Cardinals has had?
Unbelievable.
35 RBIs this month. Fastball is outside. 2-0 to Gwynn.
We haven't even had 2 months of the season yet. And he's almost got 50 RBIs on the year. Now, here we go again. One of your favorite phrases. At this pace.
Driving 2,000 runs this year. Right. I love that one. Strike one, 2-1 to Tony.
Well, figure 35 a month. You know he's going to keep up the pace, right?
Fly ball, left field. McReynolds over. It's going to be foul, and Kevin can't get to it. So it's 2-2 to Tony Gwynn. And pacing should be for automobile racing. That's about it.
Yeah, only on the pace lap too.
Yeah, maybe some trotters, not baseball.
Trotters and pacers.
Trotters, automobile racing, and power walking with you and Bill Webb.
There we go. We usually set a good pace.
I'm really into power walking now, man. I love it.
Great exercise.
Yes,
a lot
sir.
easier on your body than especially our bodies. Pounding along, jogging.
Split finger fastball is outside, so counts 3-2 to Tony Gwynn. Ron Darling has given up 4 hits. We're in the 5th inning, 1 out, Jefferson at second. The Mets lead it 3-1. The Mets with 1 in the first, 2 in the fourth. Padres came back with 1 in the fourth on an RBI double by Shane Mack. Another fastball ripped, and it's going to be foul, almost in the identical spot. Nope, carried over the fence. Oh, what a hitter.
Well, one of the things that makes Gwynn such an outstanding hitter is that he does have the ability to use the entire field. He does not try to pull pitches, ordinarily at least, that he shouldn't try to pull. Outstanding bat control, a fine eye at the plate. All the things you look for, along with the physical, mechanical tools.
Plus, you can't strike him out. During 2 streaks last year, he went over 100 at-bats without striking out. 2 different times. He batted .328 against left-handed pitching and .329 against right-handed pitching. Throw to second. Oh, boy, that was quick by Darling, but the throw a little bit to the right field side.
Santana did a real good job of getting in there quickly. And you see Jefferson lost his footing trying to get back. And you're right, Tim. He had to throw him into the shortstop side. They might have had him. Gwynn, incidentally, against Darling, entered this game a career .519 hitter.
Down the right field line, base hit. Strawberry gets to it, but Gwynn's going to have a double, and Jefferson scores. It's now a 3-2 ball game. What is known as turning on the inside fastball.
Well, we saw him drive 2 balls down the left field line, and here it's top hand city. He gets around and gets the fat part of the bat on that inside heater, and it just 2 hops the wall in right field. There's not even a play on him at second base, and certainly not one on Jefferson, who scores the second Padre run from second.
Double number 12 for Gwynn, RBI number 14. Here's Kevin Mitchell. Gwynn at second, and a threat to steal with 1 out. Mitchell 0 for 2 on the evening. Davey Johnson and Mel Stottlemyre working with a decimated pitching staff. Only 2 of the starters left from the very strong pitching staff of last year.
Pardon me, Timmy. And yet the Mets have been able to win 8 of their last 12 games.
Split finger fastball is low. It's 1-1 to Mitchell.
And ironically, the pitcher among the Mets sort of patched together staff, as Myers and Ennis both appear to be ready, that has struggled the most is Ron Darling.
part of those 8 wins, 2 went to David Cone, 2 went to David Cone, and 1 went to Rick Aguilera. So the next 12 you might think are going to be tougher than the last 12 to win 8 of.
Because Cone and Aguilera are no longer available. David incidentally had that broken finger operated on today, and the bone that was hit by the pitch in attempting to bunt was actually crushed at the joint against the bat, and it was more serious when they went in there than they had anticipated.
Mitchell swings and fouls it back. So it's 2-2 to Kevin Mitchell. 1 out, Gwynn at second, 3-2 Mets. So the gentleman with the Garvey jacket on, speaking of injuries, Steve Garvey will have his left shoulder operated on. It's actually his left bicep. Have it cut on tomorrow morning, and he's out for the season. Fastball is high. Again, the count is 3-2 to a batter. A lot of deep counts.
John Kruk, a left-hander, is on deck. If Darling doesn't get Kevin Mitchell, it may be his last hitter.
Could be. Tapper toward third. Howard Johnson, high hop, throws out Mitchell, and there goes Gwynn to third. A good base running play by Tony Gwynn, and he's there with 2 outs. After the throw, he went to third.
Well, you might say, why didn't Keith Hernandez, who has an outstanding arm, try to throw back? Santana was there and Darling was backing up. And you see, Keith thought about it. But Tony Gwynn made up his mind early and broke immediately upon the release of the ball by Howard Johnson. And quite appropriately and intelligently, Hernandez knew he didn't have a play, so he held on to the ball.
So there are 2 outs now. John Kruk, the batter. Gwynn at third, 3-2 New York. This one gets away from Carter, but not far enough for Gwynn to advance.
Here's that play. Howard Johnson getting the hop. He doesn't really look Gwynn back. And one reason might have been because the ball took a long time to get to him, and maybe he didn't feel he had time, the luxury of doing that. I don't know whether it would have done any good or not.
And not as imperative to looking back as it would have been with no outs, because Gwynn at third with 1 out, much more important than Gwynn at third with 2 outs. Good play by Carter. 2-0 to John Kruk.
Gary not only getting the hands there, but trying to close those wickets quickly so that the ball doesn't go through.
You're watching Mets Baseball 87 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. 3-2 New York. 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Drill to left center. Way back is McReynolds. Way back. Out of here. Home run. John Kruk on a 2-0 fastball, and the Padres lead it 4-3.
If anything typifies Ron Darling's season, it's what happened during this at-bat. He falls behind, and he goes from leading in the ball game to trailing in the ball game as John Kruk jumps all over this batman and drives it out of here to left center field for a 2-run home run. Kruk's 5th home run of the year. He now has 19 RBIs.
Santiago.
And in addition to that, John Kruk is now 6 for 9 against Ron Darling.
In microcosm, you can really take this inning. He walked Jefferson on 4 pitches. It was 2-0 to Cora. He finally struck him out. On a 3-2 pitch, Tony Gwynn doubled in a run. On a 3-2 pitch, Kevin Mitchell grounded out to third. And on a 2-0 pitch, John Kruk put the Padres ahead. And this one almost hit Santiago, and it did. Gary Carter telling Santiago that Darling obviously is having more control problems. That was not intentional. But he hits Santiago. That's the second hit batsman. And Darling's woes continue.
Bearing in all the way and hit him on the thigh. And Santiago didn't like it one bit, but Carter tries to calm things down immediately. He hit Templeton back in the 4th inning. So Ron Darling out of there, and his lack of control continues to plague him in many different ways.
Jeff Ennis in the ball game, the right-hander, and with the pitching change, we'll be back. Padres leading 4-3 after this word from Roy Rogers.
Us syncopators of progressive ribs have a unique style of jawing.
Howard says jazz musicians talk funny.
And after a gig, I finger pop with a light beer from Miller.
After playing, Howard enjoys a light beer.
Light is super cool and a breeze on the calories, you dig.
Light is less filling, with 1/3 less calories than their regular beer. And the taste, Howard?
Oh, man, it's Obop Shabam. It's lay down, break down, birdie on the hot side of town.
He likes it.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And less.
Ron Darling sitting on the right of your screen next to Sid Fernandez in the middle there. Ronnie not sure what to think or what to do. He has really had a hard time trying to figure out what the problem is, why the control problems continue. Jeff Ennis 0-1 with a 3.86 ERA. This is his 4th appearance of the year. He's worked only 7 innings, giving up 10 hits, walking 1, striking out 6. He has allowed 2 home runs, but only 3 earned runs in his 7 innings of work so far.
And Jeff, the surprise starter on Tuesday night against the San Francisco Giants. He started after 191 consecutive relief appearances. He had never started a game in the major leagues. He started and pitched pretty well. Pitched 4 innings, gave up 7 hits and 2 runs. Got a no decision in that game against the Giants. And the fastball to Shane Mack is a strike. Jeff Ennis in the ball game in relief of Ron Darling. Santiago, a threat to run. Ralph mentioned earlier about his speed. He had 19 stolen bases for Las Vegas last year. So we'll see if Larry Boa takes a chance and sends Santiago.
He runs a lot better than his namesake, Il Duce.
Il Duce Santiago?
No, the other Benito. The other Benito.
There he goes. Fastball is dropped by Carter, and Santiago has his 5th stolen base of the year. And boy, did he give that away.
Gary, look at Gary. He's moving out, anticipating the pitch outside, and the ball is low and inside, and he has to reach back for it and has no chance. You could tell that he had called for an outside fastball by the way he set up, but he didn't get it.
Well, you could see that right leg buckling of Santiago, and when you see that on a base runner, you know that they are leaning towards second base, more likely than not to run. And sure enough, Santiago steals his 5th base in 8 tries. It's 4-3 San Diego. Jeff Ennis trying to stop the bleeding.
And the Padres continue to run their 3rd stolen base of the night without being caught. They have 57 on the year, but they have attempted 90.
Fly ball, center field. Mookie Wilson over, and Ennis does the job, but the Padres take the lead, 3 runs on only 2 hits, There was a walk and a hit batsman, and they strand a runner. After 5, it's 4-3 San Diego, and we'll be back after this word from manufacturers. Santana leading it off here in the top of the 6th inning. The Padres leading 4-3. Santana 0 for 1. He walked in the 2nd and grounded to 3rd. Line drive, foul.
Here's that play again on which Santiago stole second. Carter setting up outside, trying to get a good pitch to throw, and after the fact, he and Carter with a little conversation in the dugout about that very thing, possibly.
2-2 to Rafael Santana. Storm Davis in relief of Dave Dravecky. Line drive again, but foul.
Those 2 foul balls sort of typify the difference in Rafael Santana this year. Last season, he would hit the ball the other way fairly consistently, but for most of the time, it would be a lazy fly ball to short right field. He's now hitting the ball with much more authority.
Like that. Drill to left. Back. Home run, Rafael Santana on a high breaking ball. Home run number 2. The only time in his major league career he has hit more than one in a season. Rafael Santana. And boy, does that reinforce your remarks, Stevie, my boy.
Well, not only is he hitting the ball with more authority, you saw the look of disbelief on Storm Davis's face. I guess you have to file that away in the rabbit ball category as well. This ball hitting right, it's sort of sitting right up there. Santana teed off of it as if it were on the tee, and Storm Davis goes, I can't believe what I just saw.
Speaking of teed off.
Yes. I guess if you were going to take a picture of hitting a hanger, that'd be one right there.
Wow.
Hanging breaking balls don't necessarily have to be up to the strike zone. That one happened to be, and Santana just hammered it.
Well, here's Wally Backman. Rafael Santana with home run number 2 and RBI number 10 on the year. Backman batting for Ennis, and he takes a strike. So it's a 4-4 ball game now. 3rd home run of the game for the Mets.
The Mets now have 24 homers in their last 18 games.
Backman looking, on the other hand, for his first pinch hit of the year. He's 0 for 5. Ground ball up the middle. And Joey Cora throws out Backman. One away here in the 6th inning as Lance McCullers, the right-hander, Craig Lefferts, the left-hander, up and throwing for the Pods. And Terry Leach up for the Mets. Terry will be the pitcher in the bottom of the 6th. So here's Mookie Wilson, who's had a good night. He tripled and scored the first run of the game in the 1st inning. And he doubled in the 3rd. Grounder towards short. Templeton, good play. And he gets Wilson. 2 out here in the 6th.
The reason Gary Templeton makes the good play and gets Wilson is that he charges this ball. In doing so, he gives himself a little tougher hop, but he knows who's running, and he has no chance if he doesn't charge that ball. Not only did he charge it, but he was in a position to make a very quick release and a throw because he sort of circled it as much as he could.
Here's Tim Tuffle, who's 0 for 2. He did, however, have a sacrifice fly in the 1st inning. 4-4 ball game. 2 out, nobody on. Top of the 6th inning. Grounder toward 3rd. Mitchell came in, back, and he throws out Tuffle. But the Mets tied on Rafael Santana's surprising power. It's 4-4 after 5.5, and we'll be back after this word from Nissan. Well, the Mets were ahead in this ball game, 3-0. But then the Pods came back and went ahead, and the Mets tied it in the 6th. Storm Davis's woes continue.
And here's Terry Leach, 3rd pitcher of the night for New York. Terry out of Selma, Alabama, 2-0 with a 2.45 ERA, no saves. This is his 18th appearance. He's worked 29 in the third innings, walked 6, struck out 18. He has given up 2 homers among his 29 hits and 8 earned runs allowed. Wally Backman stays in the game at second, and Leach will bat number 2 in the order, Tuffle's spot.
Gosh, where would the Mets be without Terry Leach? He has really been Mr. Dependable. Not started a game this year, but certainly, as Mel Stottlemyre stated in the opener, could start. And this one drilled to left center. It gets by Wilson, and Templeton's going to have a double. So on the first pitch, looking away, he got it and hammered it to left center. Gary at second base with his 6th double of the year.
Templeton's first hit against Mets pitching this year in 10 at-bats. And we mentioned earlier how he has been struggling at the plate this season. But you're right, Timmy. It appeared as if he was looking for a ball in that area, and when he got it, he knew what to do with it.
The Mets do not employ a rotation play. With a runner at second base in a bunting situation, Santana will get close to second base. But the Mets do not have a play where the third baseman charges and the shortstop goes to third. So Santana almost in a hold-on situation. The batter will be Randy Reddy, pinch hitting for Storm Davis.
Reddy hitting .282 with no homers, 9 RBIs. He is 3 for 12 pinch hitting this year.
And he is bunting, and it's fouled off. So it's 0-1 to Reddy. You talk about some minor league numbers. He came to the Padres from the Milwaukee Brewers for Tim Pisnarski, June of last year. Phenomenal minor league numbers. In 6 years in the minor leagues, he averaged .343.
So you have to ask, why did he spend 6 years in the minor leagues if he was hitting that well?
One would think that he would be ready, and he is. And he's swinging, and he fouls it back, and it's 0-2. I mean, really, gosh.
Well, there are other circumstances that are often brought to bear. The organization that you're in, who's playing ahead of you, all kinds of things. But, gee, a guy... Nowadays, it's unusual for anybody to spend 6 years in the minor leagues anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
No matter how well they play.
True.
They're either in the major leagues or they are coaching somewhere. Or selling insurance.
Yeah, Randy, 27 years old, was up in parts of 83 and 85 with the Brewers, but he goes down on strikes. A big strikeout for Terry Leach. One away here in the 6th inning.
And Boa's frustrations continue as
he wanted a base with an out.
He wanted at least a base with an out.
Yeah, right. Nobody out, and Templeton at second base. You want at least advancing. You win a lot of ball games in making the proper types of outs. Here's Stan Jefferson. He's walked twice. He has 2 stolen bases, a run scored, and he also struck out. So Jefferson playing very well against his ex-teammates. Ball 1-0.
And tight ball games are where those little extra things show up the most glaringly. Whether or not you move guys along, how you move guys along, how you score runs. Lefferts appears to be ready in the bullpen. And the Padres are 3-9 in one-run games.
Ball is outside, 2-0 to Stanley Jefferson. On deck batters, Joey Cora. There's Joey. To Jefferson. There's a strike on the corner, 2-1 to Stan.
Mets trying to win their 4th straight game. They entered tonight's action 5.5 behind the Cardinals.
Jefferson appeared to be a little upset with himself for taking that pitch. And then perhaps a little act for Lee Wire.
Fouled into the third base stands, right behind third base. 2-2 to Stan Jefferson.
You know, it's hard to be that late on a ball and hit it with that much authority.
Don't hit it out front.
That's right.
You hit it back on the plate. You hit the outside pitch and the inside pitch the same way. The difference is bat extension.
Yeah, because if you don't hit the inside pitch with some bat extension, you hit it right on your hand.
That's right. That head's got to be out in front. Slider check swing. Santana's going to go to first base as Templeton advances to third. But the Mets got the big out as Jefferson tried to hold up. But the slider bit him inside, and here's Joey Cora. 2 outs now with Templeton at third, still 4-4.
And good base running by Templeton as he saw that the ball wasn't sharply hit and went for third immediately.
Joey Cora checking Hernandez at first base. You got to remember that Cora loves to bunt. He's attempted 1 bunt during this ball game. And if he thinks Hernandez is back too far, Joey might take it with him. You see him checking Hernandez down at first base. Again, he checks him.
Johnson is playing in at third, but Hernandez not at first.
Ball outside, 2 balls and no strikes to Joey Cora. Here's Hojo, even with the bag at third base. Two 0 pitches outside, so it's 3 balls and no strikes to Cora. On deck batter Tony Gwynn. Here's TG. There's a strike also. 3-1 to Cora. You're in a challenging position. You do not want to put Cora on for Gwynn. So if you're a guy like Joey Cora, Larry Boa certainly knows situations like this. You're looking for a fastball. And he gets it and whacks it foul, so it's 3-2. Terry Leach faced the Padres twice at Shea, the 18th of May, in a losing cause. He was not the loser. And then he faced him a couple of days later. Tapper towards short. Santana will have to hurry. Got him. Good play by Rafael Santana. Terry Leach gets out of trouble in the 6th. It's 4-4 after 6. And Ralph joins Steve after this word from Bud Light.
Greg Lefferts into the game, the third pitcher of the night for San Diego. 0-1, 1 save, and a 4.00 earned run average. This is already his 24th appearance of the year. He's worked 36 innings. He has struck out 27, walked 12, given up 5 home runs and 37 hits in his 36 innings of work. He relieved Storm Davis, who pitched 2 innings. And with the score tied 4-4 as we go to the 7th inning, back in for what should be at least the final 3. Once again, Hall of Famer Ralph Kiner.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve Zabriskie. And once again, hi, everybody. Keith Hernandez to lead it off for the Mets. Keith 0 for 3 tonight. Mets 4 runs on 6 hits, and the Padres 4 runs on 7. And Lefferts with his first pitch, outside ball 1. Keith brought a 6-game hitting streak into this game. So it is in jeopardy. fastball back. 1 ball, 1 strike.
A rather large faction of the crowd here chanting, "Let's go Mets." And so the rest of the fans trying to boo them into submission.
And it's hit deep to right. If it's fair, it's gone. It is a fair ball. And Keith Hernandez with a home run, and the Mets take the lead 5-4.
Well, it's been tater time quite often for the Mets lately. They have hit 4 home runs in this game. Hernandez, Strawberry, Carter, and Santana. Keith gets his 5th of the year. And you're right, Ralph. There's no question it was deep enough. Whether or not it was going to be foul was the question, and here's the answer. It hit the screen.
And he hit that screen at the top of it, about 10 feet from the very top. And he puts this great move on it. That was a slider out of the way, and Keith got it all. Now the batter is Kevin McReynolds. He's 1 for 3 in the game. And the pitch is strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to McReynolds. Reynolds doubled to left center in the 5th inning. That broke an 0 for 19 streak point. 2 balls, 1 strike. Mets now with home runs from Darryl Strawberry, Gary Carter. They were back-to-back, the 5th time that's happened this year. And this ball hit to center field for a base hit. So Lefferts in the ball game. The first 2 batters coming up with base hits. Keith Hernandez with his 5th home run. McReynolds with a single. And that'll bring up Darryl Strawberry.
The Mets last had 4 home runs in a game back on April 30th against the Montreal Expos.
Strawberry in this game has homered and struck out. He also was walked intentionally his last time up. Strawberry's home run back in the 4th inning, coming off a left-handed pitcher, and McReynolds chased back. That's now with 57 home runs on the year. Season just a shade over 1/4 along. And the fastball for a ball.
25 of those 57 home runs New York has hit have come in just the last 18 games, counting tonight's game. As you can see, Mets fans well represented here on the left coast,
as opposed to the right coast, and that pitch called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Strawberry's last 5 home runs have been hit off left-handed pitchers.
In fact, half of his home runs this year are off left-handers, 7 of his 14.
And the fastball for ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Strawberry with his 2 home runs in 1 ball game against the Giants, getting his 12th multi-homer game. Got a chance here again, and the slider hanging on that inside corner, called strike 2 and 2. And a ground ball to the second baseman. No chance for the force play, so the out is picked up at first base as Joey Cora gets the assist, and McReynolds goes to second. That'll bring up Gary Carter. Carter walked his first time up, homered in the 4th inning after Strawberry's home run. His 5th home run of the year. He also walked in the 5th. So Carter has been on twice, and we have McCullers coming in the ball game, as they want the right-hand pitcher to go against the right-hand batter. So while McCullers comes in to take his warm-up pitches, here's a word from the good olds guy. Game, and Lance McCullers in.
Lefferts leaves as a losing pitcher after giving up the home run, at least in this point in the contest. And McCullers is 2-3 with 5 saves and a 5.33 ERA, making his 23rd appearance.
And working to Gary Carter and the slider outside ball 1. McCullers in his 23rd game this year. McReynolds, the runner at second base, 1 man out. And again, the slider again. Carter holds up. 2 balls, no strikes. Carter 1 for 1 tonight with his 5th home run. Incidentally, the home run by Keith Hernandez to put the Mets up, his first since April 30th. And that pitch a called strike, 2-1. McReynolds, a runner at second base, 1 away. Mets leading 5-4. And Carter goes after the slider. 2-2.
Very upset with himself. Figures he'd seen that pitch often enough not to be tempted.
Stayed off the first 2, but chased the third one, his 4th pitch. And he struck him out. So 2 men away on the strikeout.
And he did it with the same pitch. Slider breaking down and away. And Carter, who does have a tendency to be a little overly aggressive with men on base, chases it.
That brings up Howard Johnson. Howard 0 for 3. And the first pitch. $22,258 total attendance here. 1 ball, no strikes, and they're going to walk Howard Johnson to get the Rafael Santana. 3 balls, no strikes. And ball 4. Second intentional walk ordered by Larry Boa. And for the Mets, their 6th walk in the ballgame as Boa walks.
Wonder how many miles Bo has power walked this season already. He's powered by something different in the motivational category than we are motivated by when we power walk.
Now yours is by choice.
That's
His
right.
is by no choice.
His is out of frustration.
And the good slider again. And strike the count on Santana. Santana homered to tie the game in the 6th inning, his 2nd home run of the year. First time in his major league career he's had 2 home runs in 1 season. He now has a total of 5 home runs in his 5th year of baseball. And that pitch, a fastball fouled away, strike 2. Runners at first and second. 2 men out. Mets leading 5-4. Both starting pitchers have departed. Verbecky and Darling. And a no decision for each. 2-strike pitch. Grounded weakly toward the shortstop. Templeton picks the force play at second base, and that'll do it. So McCullers retiring 2 of the 3 batters. The other walked. In the inning, the Mets score 1 to take the lead on 2 hits, and they leave 2. And the score at the end of 6.5 innings, the Mets 5 and San Diego 4. Now here's a word from BMW. Here's a new pitcher for the Mets. Granny coming in, trying to pick up a save.
Randall Kay, the most prominent citizen of Brush Prairie, Washington, which isn't hard to be. 0-1 with a 10.45 ERA, making his 11th appearance. He's only worked 10 1/3 innings. He has walked 12, struck out 13, allowed 1 home run, 10 hits and 12 earned runs. And this is his 2nd stint with New York after a brief trip down to Tidewater.
And his first batter will be Tony Gwynn. Outstanding hitter.
Yeah, let him get his face on TV. Got his belly on TV nicely.
Button. Who's got the button? Win in this ball game, a double in 3 times up, and Myers with a fastball for ball 1. Wynn's double drove in Stanley Jefferson in the 5th inning. And again the fastball. 2 balls, no strikes. Tony Gwynn having another good year. And another out of the strike zone. Ball 3, 3 balls, no strikes. Mets leading 5-4 with 5 runs on 8 hits, no errors. Padres 4 runs on 7 hits and no errors. And a strike call by home plate umpire Lee Wire. Mets on this road trip with 3 one-run game wins. And it's ball 4, so Randy Myers walks his first batter. That puts the tying run at first with no one out here in the 7th. And it brings up Kevin Mitchell.
And as is the case with Ron Darling, and it certainly happened to Ronnie tonight, Randy Myers has been plagued by control problems. Keith Hernandez in along with Howard Johnson to talk to Randy. He has the equipment and the pitches as Roger McDowell begins to loosen, but his command has kept him from fulfilling the great promise that the Mets feel he has.
And Kevin Mitchell, a teammate of Randy's, at one point in his career, and the first pitch is inside for ball 1. Mitchell in this game 0 for 3, but he has hit 2 bullets, both turned into outs. Fastball gets into his pantry, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Baby, check your fingers there, Mitch. I mean, that ball was not on the handle. That ball was on the hands. Mitch is walking it off. Look at this ball just keep bearing in on him. Mitchell, the aggressive swinger that he is, tries to get out of the way and then manages to keep it off the fingers and foul it off.
He got into the sweet pea can.
Boy, I'll tell you, that was in the back of the pantry.
Toss over to first base. Gwynn has outstanding speed.
And he also has 12 stolen bases.
And Randy again over to first base. Myers, the 4th pitcher used in this game. Darling lasted 4 2/3. Jeff Ennis 1/3 of an inning. Terry Leach 1/3. Make it 1 inning. This ball hit down the first base side but foul. So the count on Kevin Mitchell, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mitchell hitting .254 at the start of the ball game with 3 home runs, 16 runs batted in. That's a double play depth. Short lead by Gwynn at first. And Myers over to pay a little bit of attention to him. And a hard slider in there, called strike 3. Good pitch by Randy Myers, and he picks up his first out. This major league quality pitch here.
There really has not been any question as to whether or not Randy Myers has major league quality stuff. Mitchell obviously unhappy. But when Randy harnesses the fine assortment of pitches and the power that he has, he will be, or should be at least, a fine major league pitcher.
And now John Crook, the batter, and he fouls off a fastball off on the third base side out of play. Crook put the Padres on top with a 2-run home run in the 5th inning. His 5th home run of the year. He's had 9 career home runs in the major leagues. All of them have been to left field. And he has been on base 3 out of 3 times. He's been on base in his last 21 at-bats, 16 times. And a fastball, a strike call. 2 strikes to count.
Myers had him bailing a little bit on that pitch. Front side starting to come open, and John Kruk looked at it.
And he was moving away from that one, but it was out of the strike zone. 1-2. He has walked, he has singled, he has homered.
Well, he wears Ron Darling out. 6 for 9 career. There's John, a rookie last season.
And again over to first. Mets trying to hold on here, leading by a score of 5-4. And a swing and a miss, and Randy Myers, a good quality fastball right there.
This is just a high rider. Kruk gets a piece of his bat on it, to tip it into Carter's glove. Randy just took him right upstairs, and there's no way John could get on top of that pitch.
And that brings up the catcher, Benito Santiago. Benito 1 for 2, and also has been hit by a pitch ball as Davey Johnson goes out to the mound.
Well, the pitcher's scheduled to lead off the next inning, so Davey wants to bring in Roger McDowell, the right-hander, and he's also going to make a double switch at the same time.
So with the problem. Now coming into the ball game, here's a word from Lincoln Mercury. Advertising from Albertson, New York. They love the Mets, and the Mets have made a defensive change and a offensive change. Magadan has taken over at third base, replacing Howard Johnson, and Roger McDowell, a new pitcher in the ball game, and the splits will allow a change in the batting order.
Magadan will bat second. McDowell will bat seventh in Howard Johnson's place in the order. Roger 2-1 with 3 saves and a 4.80 ERA. This is his 9th appearance. He's worked 15 innings, giving up 17 hits, 8 earned runs. He has not allowed a home run. He has walked 4 and struck out 9.
And he'll be working to Benito Santiago. 1 for 2 in this game, also hit by a pitch ball. That's leading 5-4. Time run at first base. Tony Gwynn there, and he gets some attention. Another quick toss by McDowell.
Randy Myers working just 2/3 of an inning, struck out 2 and walked 1, did not allow a base hit.
And the first pitch grounded foul. Benito Santiago. He has had 2 hits and 13 at-bats against the Mets in his major league career.
Mike Lupica, a fine New York writer, had a funny line in his column last week about his all Benito team.
And that pitch outside, a fastball missing, 1 ball, 1 strike.
He couldn't think of enough Benitos to make an all Benito team. We have, of course, Benito Mussolini, Benito Santiago. So he included Benita Granville.
Just a difference in a vowel there.
That's right.
Female against male.
That's right. Same name, just a female connotation.
And Benito swings at a fastball out of play, 1-2. Out in the strike zone.
Santiago hammering that pitch. He's now 2 for 3 on the night.
So runners at the corners, and the batter will be Shane Mack. Mack doubled in the first run of the ball game in his second at bat. His first run batted in his major league career. Mack in this game is 1 for 3. And that pitch just out of the strike zone, 2-0. We'd like to apologize for losing our feed here, and we understand we're back now. Apologize apologize for missing it. As you look at Goose Gossi throwing in the bullpen for San Diego. And a big swing and no contact. Shane Mack, the first authentic Mack to ever play in the big leagues. There have been others, but they had changed their name from a more difficult name to the name of Mack, like in Connie Mack. In the history of the game, catcher. His real name, Cornelius McGillicuddy. 2-2.
A name made famous by Lucille Ball. McGillicuddy. On the I Love Lucy show, that was her maiden name. Never known too many McGillicuddys.
And there goes the runner. A big jump, and it's hit up the middle, but cut off by Santana. And the throw to first base is in time for the out. That retires the side. The Padres threaten, but do not score. 1 run, 2 men left on base. Should say no runs, 1 hit, 2 men left on base. And the score at the end of 7. The Mets 5 and the Padres 4. Now here's a word from Busch Beer. San Diego Stadium, you're looking at Bill Webb's Taylor walking down to his seat.
This guy's either looking for the Greyhound bus depot or a place to spend the night here in the stadium.
He's probably in that satchel. He's probably got Bill Webb's new suit.
He's got a Mets t-shirt on underneath that jacket.
Well, Bill gave him that because he did such a good job.
I think I figured it out. He's wearing shorts because it's California, but he's got a suit coat on because it's kind of a cool evening.
Always be ready for the consequences. Well, we're going now to the top of the 8th inning. The Mets leading by a score of 5-4, and it will be Wally Backman to lead it off. Wally's pinch hit in the 6th inning, stayed in the ball game, grounded out in his pinch hitting appearance, and now Lance McCullers gets a fastball by him, strike 1. McCullers coming in the ball game in the 7th inning after the Mets had taken the lead by a score of 5-4 and a home run by Keith Hernandez. Fastball fouled away. Sorry about that.
Our friend who was walking down the right field line is now coming back. That outfit is priceless.
Well, you can tell.
You can't imagine what he has in those 2 bags. I don't want to know what he has in those 2 bags. I don't want to see it.
Got a change of clothing in there.
I hope so.
Foul ball off to the left side.
For his sake, I definitely hope he's got a change of clothing in those bags.
2 strikes to count to Wally Backman.
Now he's headed for the left field line. I mean, you know, here we are in the 8th inning. He's looking for his seats still.
And the fastball outside. 1-2, the count to Wally Backman.
He hasn't found his seat yet.
Wally hitting .254. No home runs, 8 runs batted in. Two and two.
What's up, bro?
And the split-fingered fastball swung on and missed, and Backman is struck out.
Well, Lance McCullers, who last year was pretty much a straight power pitcher, has also started to throw that splitter. And our pal's still looking for his seats. You know what he may be looking for? He may be looking for 8th Avenue in New York. I mean, that's where he belongs.
Now the batter is Mookie Wilson, and Mookie takes a fastball for ball 1. Mookie tripled in the first and scored in the sacrifice fly by Tuffle. Doubled in the third as a leadoff batter was left there, and then grounded into a force play and grounded out. And the splitter is taken in the count. 2 balls, no strikes to Mookie Wilson. And the Mets fans cheered up as the Mets lead by a score of 5-4, and the fastball fouled back on the third base side into the stands. 2-1, the count to Wilson. Mookie hitting .343. And it's ball 3, 3 balls and 1 strike. Tomorrow night, Sid Fernandez against Eric Schau.
And we'll be on the air at 10 o'clock Eastern Time with that game, too.
And Mookie makes no contact, 3-2. Lance McCullers. The 3-2 pitch. Almost hits him, and Mookie is on. So the walk to Mookie Wilson that brings up Dave Magadan, who is batting for the first time.
Padres pitchers have allowed 7 walks in this game, 2 of them intentionally. And Magadan will bat for the first time tonight after being inserted in the game defensively when David Johnson made a double switch.
You're watching Mets Baseball 87 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey.
Magadan hitting .310, 2 homers, 9 RBIs.
And Mookie back safely. Mookie, a strong threat to run. Nine stolen bases out of 11 attempts. And again, he draws a throw. And this pitch is a fastball fouled off. Dave has been hitting very strongly. He's .371 in his last 12 games with 6 runs scored. And .333 over his last 17 games with 9 runs scored and 8 runs batted in. His problem is getting into the lineup. Again, Wilson tested at first base.
And in a way, Ralph, lately that's been doubly difficult for him because Rafael Santana has been hitting so well that when Magadan ordinarily plays, Santana does not, and Howard Johnson moves to short. That was real close, except John Kruk didn't have the ball in his glove.
That's sort of a necessity.
Kruk goes to catch the ball, make the tag, but the ball lands between his legs. So it wasn't as close as it appeared.
And the colors again over to first, and you wonder why games are so much longer?
Oh, I don't wonder.
There's the answer right there.
Well, as Tim said, and I think he put it quite well, it's ironic that speed has actually slowed down the pace of the game.
There goes Mookie. A good jump. The throw not in time. It bounces away. Mookie takes a look, and he might have been hurt on that ball thrown down there.
It did appear to hit him. And then he and Joey Cora got tangled up a little bit. Mookie, as you said, Ralph, an outstanding jump. Santiago with that great arm, but no chance. The ball hit Mookie right on the side as he goes in head first. It hit him right in the ribs, or maybe in the waist area. Yeah, right around the waist. And then he and Cora, it looked like Mookie's head might have bumped into Cora's knee a little bit as Cora was trying to flag the ball down. Mookie's helmet came off, but apparently he's all right.
And a 2-strike count on Magadan. And he fouls off. The next delivery, count stays at strike 2.
Mookie with his 8th stolen base. He's only been caught twice.
And McCullers sets up again. A ball call, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
While the pitching for the Mets has been hurting, 2 things the Mets have been doing, well, 3 things really. They've been hitting well, 275 over the last month or so. They've been stealing bases at better than 75% success rate.
And that one almost hits Magadan. Good play on the ball by Benito Santiago.
And of course the third thing is they've been hitting home runs like crazy. Magadan just does get out of the way as the ball skips up there, and that fastball in the dirt, a tougher chance for the catcher, and Santiago did a good job to keep it in front of it.
So a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. McCullers 10 and 10 last year with 5 saves. And it's hit out to the shortstop side and on by Templeton. That was not an easy chance. It was a jam shot, and he had to either do or die on the play, and he died.
It's going to be scored a base hit for Dave Magadan. Inside out swing, the ball slicing the other way. Templeton trying to circle it to get a throw, and the spin that's on the ball has it skip by. Now Mookie knows he can't go to third. Now he sees, oh, the ball got by. I could have gone to third, but now he can't because the ball is run down in the outfield quickly by Stan Jefferson. So no error on the play, a base hit for Magadan. Mookie really caught in between, had no chance to go to third in either instance, so he remains at second.
And it brings up Keith Hernandez, whose home run in the 7th inning put the Mets on top by a score of 5-4. Leadoff home run. Keith's first home run since April 30th and his 5th of the year. And a fastball for ball 1. Keith, with that home run, extended his hitting streak to 7 consecutive ball games. Big home run swing there. It's 1-1. Keith's home run hit the foul screen right down the right field line about 2/3 of the way to the top. It was a mammoth home run. The question was, would it stay fair? And it did. 4th home run hit by the Mets in this game. And the fastball, 2 balls, 1 strike. Strawberry, Carter, Santana, and Hernandez, says Goose Goslin. Goose Gossage warms up in the bullpen. Shades of the past, Goose Goslin. Outfielder for the 1934 Detroit Tigers.
Wonder if he ever warmed up in the bullpen.
Didn't have a bullpen then. It gets away from the catcher, and the runners move up. Actually, the runner moves up as Magadan never left first base on the ball that went all the way back to the screen.
Well, that's just a mistake by Dave here. The ball goes right off the end of Santiago's glove, and he starts off for it. Magadan could have walked down to second base because obviously the first concern of Santiago is going to be Wilson. And Mookie, limping a little bit, may have hurt himself as he's favoring that left knee. Remember that slide in at second when the ball hit him? It was rather awkward with he and Joey Cora.
And it's chopped out to the mound, and the play at the plate. Here comes Mookie. He's out.
Well, with 1 out, Mookie Wilson going all the way, and the ball slowly hit, but McCullers did a good job. He got up quickly, and then he got the ball away quickly. He knew he had no time to move his feet, and you see he threw off balance, but he has that strong arm, and he fired a strike to Santiago from an off-balance position to get Wilson at home.
And a good block on the plate by the catcher, Santiago. That brings up Kevin McReynolds with runners now at first and second, and the slider for ball 1. McReynolds 2 for 4 in the game, a double in the 5th to end the 0 for 19 streak And he singled in the 7th. Two balls, no strikes as McCullers misses with a fastball. And the slider a called strike, 2-1. Tough pitch on a 2-0 count. Good pitch to take. And the fastball popped up in foul territory. Crook is there, and he makes the play. So the Mets threaten but do not score on a base hit and a walk, and they leave 2, and the score at the end of 7 1/2 innings. The Mets 5 and the Padres 4. Now here's a word from the good old guys. 22,258 total crowd, I should say, and that included Bill Webb's haberdasher. And coming in now for the play-by-play, Steve Zabriskie.
Gary Templeton to lead it out. I'll give a thank you to you for Bill Webb for that that plug. Webb got fined tonight. He didn't wear his WWOR official jacket. Templeton up the middle with a base hit. So McDowell has yielded 2 base hits to the 3 batters he has faced so far, and the Padres have the tying run aboard here in the bottom of the 8th inning with nobody out.
McDowell coming into this game with an earned run average of 4.80 and hit hard in his last 4 appearances now. And Templeton, who was hit by a pitch back in the 4th inning, has followed that with a double and a single.
Pinch hitter James Steels will now bat for Lance McCullers. Steels hitting 154, no homers, and a bunt attempt is popped up foul. Sandy Alomar, the first base coach, with a few words for Steels. As a pinch hitter, Steels is 2 for 12, with 2 of his 4 RBIs coming as a pinch hitter. The 3rd pinch hitter Larry Boa has used tonight. Swinging away and punching it to the left side. No chance for the double play, and just in time, and a nice pick by Hernandez to get Steels at first base.
Well, a good call by Larry Boa as he has the batter swing away with the runner going on the pitch. No chance for a play at second, and the Mets just do pick up the out at first as Hernandez digs it out of the dirt. Fortunately for the Mets, the right man was covering. Second baseman covering and not the shortstop.
If Santana had been breaking, he probably would not have been able to get back to the ball, and even if he had flagged it down, he would have had no play. Good call by Ed Montague at first base, and 1 out, with Templeton now at second for Stan Jefferson, who takes low and away ball 1. Jefferson has walked twice, struck out, grounded out, and stolen 2 bases. He scored a run in the 5th inning. Jesse Orozco warming for New York. Well hit to center, but it's high enough that Mookie has a chance to get back. Templeton tags and will advance to 3rd, and he will be there with 2 away. So another well-hit ball off Roger McDowell, as Jefferson now is 0 for 3.
Well, it's a tough pitch to hit. And Jefferson gets a lot of it, but not enough, of course, to make it go for extra bases. It does allow the runner at second base, Templeton, to go to 3rd. So now you got to watch out for the wild pitch with a runner at 3rd. Time run there, and the batter will be Joey Cora.
Cora tonight, a single in 4 trips. He singled to left back in the 1st inning. He's also popped to short, struck out, and grounded to short.
And Cora's job right here is to try and work out a walk or somehow get on base, as Tony Gwynn is the on-deck batter. Back in the 6th inning with a runner at 3rd base and 2 men out, Cora grounded out. And they didn't have to face Gwynn, who is really a tough hitter.
And, of course, Davy Johnson does have Jesse Orozco, a left-hander, warming in the bullpen with the left-handed hitting Gwynn coming up. But I'm sure he would much prefer to keep Roger McDowell in the game, this being the 8th inning.
Especially since Davy, I'm sure, remembers the home run Gwynn hit off of Orozco in the 9th inning with 2 men out to beat him a ball game, and it was a broken bat home run last year.
Truly amazing. And Gwynn, of course, is pretty much unaffected by left-handed pitching. Outside to Cora, ball 1. Ball 2. And I'm sure that Joey will take a strike.
He's good at getting walks. He's 10th in the league in walks with 25. Of course, he's a small target.
He isn't taking a strike as he grounds to second. Backman throws him out, and the inning is over. So McDowell pitches out of it after the leadoff base hit by Templeton. He is stranded at third. We will go to the 9th inning with New York leading 5-4 after this word from Ford.
Gossage, the new pitcher for the Padres. His record, no wins, no losses. He's had 1 save this year. He comes in with an earned run average of 5. This is his 10th game of the year. He's worked 9 innings, given up 11 hits, 1 of them a home run. He has walked 6 and struck out 8. Goose Gossage.
And Richard will pitch to Darryl Strawberry, and a fastball, the patented Gossage fastball, for strike 1. Darryl tonight, a home run and 3 official at-bats, and plus an intentional walk. Foul back, and that got a piece of home plate umpire Lee Wire. And it's 0-2 to Darryl.
Oh, this smarts. It got him right. This is about a 90-mile-an-hour fastball fouled just into the mask of Lee Wire. And that jars your muscles in your neck.
Check your dental work.
Ooh.
Baby. That's high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gossage works fast. Comes in, throws gas, and means business. And he gets Darryl to go after one breaking down in the strike zone. 1 out here in the top of the 9th inning.
Well, that's a good hard slider by Gossage, who's having a tough start this year. Had a pulled muscle in the rib cage that kept him from pitching earlier. He pitches like Lyle Alzado plays football.
All out. Gary Carter with a home run. 1 for 2, has walked twice and struck out. Strike at the knees. Popped up off the end of the bat, playable. Kevin Mitchell at third circles it and takes it in fair territory for out number 2. So 2 out and nobody on, and Roger McDowell will hit for himself.
Number 42, pitcher Roger McDowell.
Roger, of course, does not get very many at-bats, pitching primarily in the late innings.
Doubled the last time he was up.
Well, he's 2 for, or actually 1 for 2. That doubled his only base hit. But when you've only been up twice, 1 base hit's pretty good. Strike at the knees, 1-1. So Roger with the ever-present bubble, hitting a cool .500. And looking for more, as they say. But the Goose just blows the fastball right by him, 1-2. Rich was on the disabled list from April 15th to May 4th with that rib cage pull. Fought off the other way, foul. Still 1-2 to McDowell. So Gossage really getting a late start, and that's a tough time of year for a pitcher to have his season interrupted for a period of almost 3 weeks. Two and 2 now. Especially a late inning relief pitcher who's used to working regularly. Two strikeouts in the inning for Gossage as he sets the Mets down in order here in the ninth. And we go to the bottom of the ninth with New York leading by 1. It's 5-4 Mets. Now here's a word from AT&T. Looking for New York to pick up their 4th victory in a row after sweeping the Western Division leading Giants in San Francisco to begin this West Coast swing. They are leading 5-4 over the Padres in the opener of this 3-game series as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Roger McDowell on the mound to face the meat of the order. Tony Gwynn, Kevin Mitchell, and John Kruk here in the 9th. Down low, ball 1. Gwynn tonight has doubled and walked, officially 1 for 3, with an RBI and a run scored.
And the Mets want to remind all their fans that USA Today All-Star Balloting is going on at Shea Stadium through July 6th. They'll come on out and vote for your favorite player.
You will, however, have to wait until the Mets get home. Don't go out tomorrow.
That's right.
There won't be any balloting going on tomorrow. Only when games are being played. And it'll be a week from tonight.
June 5th.
Next Friday evening against the Pittsburgh Pirates as the Mets come home for just 3 games and then go back out on the road to Chicago. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Tony Gwynn. And he chases one for strike 3. And take a picture of that.
Yeah, put this on your tape recorder.
You won't see this maybe again this year.
He doesn't strike out very often, and he doesn't swing at bad pitches very often. And this fastball just sinking out of that zone, and Gwynn is struck out. He struck out about once every 200 at bats.
Once every year against the Mets. In the games between these two teams, he might strike out. Kevin Mitchell is struck out. He takes a fastball right in there for strike 1. Mitchell's 0 for 4. Howard Johnson made a great play on him to get him in the first inning. He lined one hard to McReynolds in left in the 4th. Then he grounded out again and struck out. And he fouls this one into the screen. It's 0-2.
Padres are 3-9 in 1-run ball games, and the Mets now have gone over 500 in 1-run ball games. They're 10-9, not counting this one.
And they had a horrible record the first month of the season in 1-run games. Easy play for Backman at second, 2 out in the bottom of the 9th. And the batter will be John Kruk, who has been the hitting star of the Padres tonight. He had a 2-run home run in the 5th inning after singling and scoring a run in the 4th. He has also walked and struck out, so 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs, a home run, and 2 runs scored for the big Kruk, as in large truck. The sinker sinks low, ball 1.
And the Mets are guarding the lines at first and third, and the outfield is deep. Will guard against the extra base hit. You're trying to keep that ball held to a single if he hits it.
And he hits it, but it's out of play. And the count 1-1. It's mano y mano right here. 2 out in the bottom of the 9th. A shot by a diving Dave Magadan and a base hit to left. McReynolds on it quickly. So a 2-out single for John Kruk in the bottom of the 9th inning will bring Benito Santiago to the plate.
Well, you can't get this fellow to go back to the bench. He is unbelievable in getting on base, and because Magadan was guarding the line, he goes through for a base hit, but you want the single. You don't want to give up the extra base hit. So now the Padres down to their last out with a tying run at first and the catcher coming up.
Santiago's 2 for 3, 2 singles to center. He was also hit by a pitch and stole a base in the 5th inning. And a ground ball in the hole. The game is over as Santana throws to Backman, and the Mets have won 4 in a row and 9 of their last 13. Roger McDowell with the save works the final 2 1/3 innings, and Terry Leach, who pitched only the 6th inning tonight, picks up the victory. Leach is now 3-0, and what a job he has done in various capacities for the Mets. So the Mets continue to hold it together with chewing gum and baling wire as they have 4 of their 5 pitchers hurt. But McDowell is back, and Roger now has 4 saves on the year. The Mets win another 1-run game. They are 4-0 on this road trip as they beat the Padres 5-4. Ralph and I'll be right back for the wrap-up, so stay with us as the Mets win it. We'll be back to San Diego after this for Busch Beer.